Got to pull up the. All right, here we go. Locked in. All right, Dill. Before the game starts, we do have a couple current events to talk about. I want to start with Carson Beck hitting the transfer portal. You haven't had the ability to give your take yet. If I were to put, it sounds like the Miami Hurricanes are going to be the landing spot. I'll kick it to you first. How do you like to fit there?
It's 100% the Miami Hurricanes. The second he hit, it's basically running back the Cam Ward playbook. Yeah, he's going to Miami, and I don't mind it. I do think it makes a ton of sense for both because Miami, as much as the Miami fans, I feel like had the belief in Emory Williams. That popped our bull second half. I do not see how you can think, yeah, we can win national championship with that level of play. Carson Beck, if you get a good version of him, and that is
here's the thing with the good version of Carson Beck. You didn't see a bad version. It wasn't as good as we thought it was going to be, and it certainly wasn't as good as it was in 2023. But still, like those pass catchers at Georgia, like that's the reason. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Notre Dame. That's the reason we're watching Notre Dame, not Georgia. Like they just didn't have difference makers on the outside. All this, like especially from the Georgia fans, like talking about Carson Beck and like how Georgia didn't want him back. Like that's crazy to me.
Georgia wanted him back.
Yeah, and it makes.
I think it makes sense to maybe for them. I think there's an element of mutual parting ways that makes sense because that just was a really bad year for both sides. Like that offense just didn't make it happen. But Georgia would have taken him back in a heartbeat, I would think.
Yes, and I think it's a great fit at Miami. Yeah, like good offensive line, going to have a good run game. We all know how good Carson Beck is off of play action. Also, Greg McElroy on the call, probably the best in the business. I know that's a hot take. Love it. I'm with you. I think it makes too much sense. And I think it makes so you start looking at the ACC and I think, look, we knew Miami was going to have a good roster around the quarterback. You just had the question mark about the quarterback. And it always felt like every time we talked about Miami, it had felt like Mario Cristobal is just waiting. You know, they went after John Mateer briefly, kind of waiting in the weeds, and they make it happen with Carson. Or we expect them to make it happen with Carson Beck.
I don't see a world that it's not Carson Beck.
I'm guessing there's some teams like Auburn that went early after a quarterback like Jackson Arnold that are probably sitting there like, dang, like
it wouldn't surprise me.
Like because the quarterback class just wasn't. That's not me hating on Jackson Arnold, by the way. I'm actually like super fired up to see what he can do at Auburn, but I do wonder if there are some programs that maybe it's like desperate, you know, it's like we need a quarterback, so we'll get one versus Miami was like we knew they needed a quarterback after we saw Emory Williams, but it was very quiet on that front. And like I think they had a feeling, whether it was Carson Beck, whether it was Quinn Ewers, whether it was Jalen Milroe, whoever it was, it felt like Miami was kind of waiting on
that. And the problem was like there just weren't great portal options. I mean, I'm like again, you said it. Like, aside from John Mateer, nobody played great football at the quarterback spot. Maybe Caden Salter if you go back to the 2023 film. But
Darren Mensah from Tulane, I think, was interesting. Look, there were a bunch of interesting guys, but there weren't a lot of guys that you looked at and were like, oh yeah, that's a Cam Ward addition that catapults your program. At least my take on it. Where do you put Miami in the ACC standings now? If
probably one, I think.
I mean, you look at Clemson returning Cade, returning all those wide receivers, returning pretty much that whole offensive line.
I know. We've been talking about that with Clemson for a bit now. I feel like that's been a conversation for 3 or 4 years.
What has been the conversation?
That they're ready. They're prime. They're ready.
No, we didn't. No, we knew what. When did we ever have that conversation? Since
about
Trevor Lawrence,
like being back.
No, I'm not getting up here saying they're back, but I'm saying
like you left. Everyone's like, "Oh, Cade Klubnik, he's way better than DJU. He's going to take him back to the promised land."
That's a horrible take. I mean, it's just like nobody, and I was higher on most in Clemson. I wasn't like, "Oh, the Clemson of old is back." I'm just saying, and I'm not even saying that now. I'm just looking at Clemson and saying it's hard not to have them the favorite in the ACC.
I mean, I don't know how you.
Who are you taking over? You're taking Miami over them right now. You seem very ill prepared for my ACC talk right now.
It's tight at the top. It's also, I don't think everything's totally in place yet, because if Miami gets a legitimate quarterback, that changes everything.
Okay, we're operating under the assumption that
if we're operating under the Carson Beck's going to be the quarterback there, probably taking Miami. Yeah. It's a more talented team.
All right.
I also
we're going to have a lot of
interested to see what defensive coordinator they bring in, because
that matters. That matters in a big way. Yeah, you were hearing rumors about Tim Banks, which I thought it would have been like a dynamite home run smash hire. That seems quieted down a little bit. We'll see.
I would love Tim Banks there. Made a ton of sense. I would have been surprised if I'm Tim Banks. I don't think I'd leave Tennessee until I get a head job, because I think that's the track he's on. But
I'm just surprised, because you saw Tim Banks' name pop up for Clemson and Miami, and I'm like very surprised that Tennessee's not fighting tooth and nail to
I didn't get that. I would have really, I would have been like, what you need to do if you're 10. I mean, you don't take a backseat to teams like a program. It's Tennessee. It's not like you're Louisville or like a stepping stone.
Yeah.
You can't lose defensive coordinators you want to a lateral move.
I don't know what my take is on Miami's defensive coordinator. I talked about it earlier this morning. I feel like they're waiting for an NFL coach to pop. I think there's a reason it's been so quiet and you haven't really seen like a ton of core. There's no noise. I mean, either Miami's doing a great job of just radio silence, tight-lips within the walls of that program, which is, you've seen Miami do that, and they do it successfully. They don't let a lot of their not dirty laundry, but they don't get a lot of their information out. Mario Cristobal does a good job of that, but it seems eerily quiet. And then secondly, look at the past NFL coaches that moved down to college and took over defenses. All three of the Michigan defensive coordinators, Minter, McDonald, and now Wink, and then Danton Lynn, Steve Belichick. That's it's a small sample size, but the sample size is if you're an NFL coach and you make the move down to the collegiate levels, you have a lot of success. I wouldn't be surprised if Miami takes that route either. And I don't hate it. I actually really like it, because you look at Miami and say, all right, well, a lot of people are going to have the conversation of the recruiting trail. I don't care about the recruiting trail with this hire if I'm a Miami fan. I know as long as Mario Cristobal is running this program, talent's going to come. Give me a dang. That's going to be the key for Mario Cristobal, quite frankly, is just hiring good football coaches around him. Because if there is one knock on Mario Cristobal, as a pure football coach managing a game there are some questions that aren't answered.
I would agree. Yeah, that is something certainly, and that'll be looking forward to until Mario Cristobal kind of puts together a complete season of not having snafus.
They're getting closer. I feel like there's a lot of people it's like this team is clearly just getting better and better as Mario Cristobal digs his teeth in more. I think they're going in the right direction. Obviously, they got not lucky, but
but now the margins are small for him, because he's gotten them to a point where they're winning a lot of games. They can't afford his blunders. They can't afford him not understanding he needs to take a knee or
that's such a
you say it's like cherry picking, but there's been way too many in-game horrible mistakes from him. And again, when you're trying to win at the highest level in college football, you need to be close to perfect. Less perfect now, because the playoff is obviously open the door for that. But you still need to be really good, and he hasn't put together a season where I'm like, oh, he did an excellent job running the show there. There were still mistakes. This year. The fact that Lance Guidry made it all year, I found stunning, because that was.
Well, the thing with Lance Guidry not getting fired mid-season was there was nobody on that staff that made sense to elevate.
True.
So we'll see where they go if they get this one right. Because I do think, look, he missed on his first couple of hires. Definitely missed in a big way with Josh Gaddis. I think he home run with Shannon Dawson from what it looks like. If they can get this DC right, and that's the thing that's exciting for Miami fans, is that you look at this roster and say it's a good defense. At least in my opinion, I look at it, especially with what they've done in the portal in the back end. It's a good football team. Now you're looking and saying, hey, Can we put it all together here? Also, Abdul Carter, then I'm just switching back to like the game we're about to watch here.
Oh, he's a freak show.
Well, yes, but I mean, there's two storylines. One, the health of Abdul Carter. Like, he's the best football player on the field right now. I think number two, Notre Dame with the flu. We'll see with
That
that.
was eerily similar of what was it, 2021 Buckeyes?
Well, yes, and well, I thought the flu was like a thing a couple of weeks ago with them for Indiana. So don't you knock the flu out of your system in like a week? Less?
I don't love those rumors swirling around.
Why?
Doesn't pass this. I don't know. Did you ever hear something like that from like vintage Bama teams or vintage Georgia?
No, I'm just saying. All I'm saying is that it's. I saw it on Twitter. I don't even know the validity of it. Just
I
kind
don't
of.
know the validity either, but
I know Jeremiah Love was dealing with it. He seemed fine in that Indiana game, running 99 yards for a touchdown.
his health will be a big one. If that knee is good, that.
Well, who are you taking quarterback wise? Riley Leonard, Drew.
Drew, for sure. I don't even think it like. I mean, Riley Leonard's doing what this Notre Dame team needs him to do for what it's worth, but like, they don't really have a passing attack that goes beyond 10 yards, and I don't think it's concerning because it hasn't mattered, and their defense is good enough, and their running backs are the best in the country, I think. But yeah, Drew.
You're gonna piss off some Penn State fans saying that. And you're seeing 4 or 5 in this, like some really good running backs in this football game. So Drew is, in my mind, yes, the better NFL prospect. There's no secret about that. I do like Riley Leonard in terms of like what he can do in this ugly kind of football game. Because this is going to be an ugly one. Like in terms of if you like points, this ain't the game for you. You're going to need a quarterback that can make it happen, even if it looks a little ugly. And I quite frankly think Riley Leonard's ability to do that, I like in this football game. Yeah, is Drew the better NFL guy? 100%.
But that's like I feel like you're not treating Drew in terms of what the strides he's made
Yeah,
as a
he has.
playmaker,
I agree.
inability to make like big time throws. I mean, you go watch that Oregon game, a handful of plays with his legs, a handful of unbelievable throws with the arm. Like, I think Drew's playing really good ball, and I do think you still need to discount the fact that they are not good at wide. Just they don't have great wide receivers. Now, neither team has great wide receivers, I wouldn't say, but Penn State's wideouts, aside from Tyler Warren, don't create a ton of separation for him. He still makes it happen.
Drew made some big time throws in that Boise State game too. I forgot if you said.
Yeah.
I was kind of listening to my fault. If you said that, I was listening a little bit to Marcus Freeman's.
No, I was talking with Oregon. I don't. Yeah. I mean, take the Boise State game for what it's worth. It's a G5 team. I get they're a good G5 team, but we've seen Penn State look good on offense against that type of team.
That is very true. But this is what you're hoping is different if you're a Penn State fan. Like Coach Kolnicky, like elevating this offense in this kind of game. We said that in the preview. Like the biggest difference between this Penn State team, yes, Drew's made some strides, but the new offensive coordinator here, to me, in this kind of football game where you're going to need to dial it up at some point, I think it's going to be really big. We'll see if he's got – I'm sure he's got something dialed up. This is a big drive too. I mean, you talk about Penn State taking the ball first. What does that opening game script look like? I'm interested. I guarantee you're going to see some a little crafty. Maybe your first two drives. You're going to see Coach Kolnick get to work here.
I think he's got to find out, though, if he can run the ball. Like, that was obviously the one issue. I feel like you've seen him try to get almost too cute. It's like, this is a really good offensive line, very good running backs. And I still want to see a team try to, like, wear out Notre Dame a little bit if they can keep the ball and keep possession of in the football. Like, Georgia just couldn't do it. They were taking the 10 negative plays. They just weren't playing clean. I want to see a team try to run the ball consistently because I still think with Riley Mills going down, it's not a super deep front they have.
Yes. We didn't really get the answer on that earlier against Georgia. I'm trying to make this game cast perfect here. Not going great.
Little play.
trying to dial it up here. All right, that'll have to work.
We'll already go into.
I want to see Nick Singleton get more work. Hot take of mine. I think he's the better back. Although they both serve their
purpose. But in Katron does things that Nick doesn't do. I mean, like hammering in the middle, like that's not Singleton's game. I still like there's a place for that for Penn State to be able to like.
All right, I think I'm good with the game cast here. Yeah, love it. Slipping the screen out.
So I'm surprised Notre Dame's blitzing like that.
Well, yeah, agreed.
I feel like that's a little. I don't know. I don't want to say out of nature, but
no, they want to be aggressive for sure. I mean, the numbers do say if you can heat up Drew, it's not as good. I feel like you want to let your front four do the work here.
Good my thinking is you want to try to like, okay, go see if you can get open against us.
You already got Tyler Warren taking direct snaps.
Yeah, we're getting creative, Cold Mickey, right now.
You're gonna have to dial it up. I at least the way I look at it, it's like I don't think
you're not gonna win man. They're not gonna win man to man. Just like,
and you're gonna need some man beaters too. I'm kind of interested to see what they have going there.
See, that's why it gets to Tyler Warren. Why I feel like this team can be much more of a problem than they used to. Because
you're gonna see this little miscommunication. There's the man beater, Dill. Oh my God! That's what you wanted there.
You just got to turn around.
Oh, I feel like that was one of the plays that you kind of had dialed up there. A little early. First third down of the game.
Yes.
Yeah, also, shout out Al Golden. He's done such a good.
Oh yeah, I know. I wonder if Al Golden will be back in the head coaching realm.
Yeah, I wonder. I feel like I don't know. You can tell me I'm wrong on this, but I look at Al Golden and say that seems like he's a better coordinator than he is a head coach. My take.
That could be true because I mean, granted, the only shot he did Temple. He went from Temple to Miami and then hasn't been back.
Yeah.
That Miami job was a coach killer for
yeah, a little bit.
Years.
Yeah, a little bit. I do agree with
that. A lot of guys were taking that job.
Look at the kitchen sink coming out. No, they're just motioning Drew back in.
They're just trying to get Tyler Warren his matchup.
You go here?
I was going to say, like, you
shot.
I think you punt.
I think you punt. I think you don't give Notre Dame a short field. I think field position in this game is going to matter a lot.
Yeah,
I feel like you feel good about your defense getting off the field and giving your offense a short field back.
Yeah, that's not a terrible possession for Penn State, honestly.
No, but that with Amari Evans out of the backfield, I feel like was there. I feel like they could have hit that one.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. See if Riley Leonard can get it going here.
Yeah, I'm interested. I really want to see how Notre Dame runs the ball, or if they can.
Dude,
I still think they're gonna be able to hit big ones, like a couple.
As a Michigan fan, I hate this game. I'm rooting for whoever can beat Penn State, whoever can beat Ohio State in the championship.
Do you think Texas is by far the best shot to beat Ohio State right now?
Yeah, I probably would say so.
Yes. I kind of think so. Mainly just the offensive firepower. I do feel like, again, I mean, the thing about Notre Dame and Penn State is they can drag them into the mud.
Well, that's what worked with Michigan. You know what I mean? If you can make Ohio State play a game they don't want to play. And I think both Notre Dame and Penn State can do that. That's probably what they will try to do in that football game too. But the way Ohio, look, at least my take is the way Ohio State has played the first 2 games of the playoffs, like it's hard to see them playing that way and losing. I do think there's an element of they're going to have to drop their level. And look, I do think Texas, from a team speed standpoint, can actually bang with them.
Well, that's kind of like Texas on both sides of the ball, especially on the offense. Like there's a top end they can get to that I think can go with Ohio State if Ohio State's playing well and Texas playing well. The issue is if Ohio State plays really, really well, like does a Penn State or a Notre Dame have the top end? I mean, again, I think that those 2 teams can drag them into the sewer for sure, but I don't know that they have a great avenue to winning a really kind of high flying. Not that anyone has a great avenue, but I feel like Texas does have the top end to possibly put themselves in that world.
I was surprised. You know, we did our game preview early for that game, and then like listening to some other people talk about that, acting like it wasn't going to be a game, and so confident in Ohio State. Like, look, I get it. I'd be confident in Ohio State as well right now, the way they're playing, but Texas.
People are forgetting like 2 or however many weeks ago they played Michigan and looked terrible. It's like there's a version of Ohio State that hasn't been what they've been the last 2 weeks all year.
Totally agree.
And also, I hate to say it, but Oregon came out. That's a really
I couldn't believe it. So disappointing
effort by what they did.
So disappointing.
I was looking, nobody played good in that game for them.
Yes, agreed. We talked about. I think Carson Beck's a lock to the. Now the question is, are you taking Miami to win the ACC next year? Dill takes him. I'm still leaning Clemson right now. There's the quick game.
Mitchell Evans.
That's what I think that's what you're going to see from this team. This is their offense.
Mitchell Evans, I really want to see if they can get him back involved. He hasn't been like involved in this offense, I feel like, at all. Relatively.
Well, yeah, back from the injury. Agreed.
Oh, I know, but he's their best pass catcher.
I also think Notre Dame's just going to go to the quick game all day because I don't think they can block Abdul Carter. Like this offensive line can block in the run game, but they struggle a little bit in pass protection, and Abdul Carter is kind of a different beast.
It's a very weird enigma that is the Notre Dame offensive line. I mean, that's the recipe, that sequence of plays. Also, Louisville winning the ACC. Louisville is an interesting one. I do not believe in the program Brahm is putting together there.
That we're going to talk about that at the commercial break. You're going to try to get me worked up while I'm trying to watch a football
drag
game.
You back into that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
That's a lot of portal guys.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Abdul Carter getting involved early.
Amazing.
I bet they ride.
See, but I don't think the quarterback run game, like in the way they do it, is gonna.
What do you mean? I feel like the quarterback run game has been great for them.
No, but super effective. I mean, Penn State's just so athletic. I feel like
I think you're going to see them throw the kitchen sink at it. Like, we're going to try to get the run game going a lot of different ways. I think you have to. You have to run the football because if you get into third and longs against this Penn State team, it's going to be bad news bears. So here we go. First third and long we see. Is Abdul Carter the best defensive player in the country? Like who has a bigger impact on the football game? Mason Graham, certainly. Jalen Walker from Georgia.
Caleb Towns is really good. It makes me sad that he's great.
Agreed.
But he's right up there. He's right up there in the echelon of monsters.
He's got Darth Vader on the nose tape.
He's been posting.
This is the question right here. Like, can they block it up? They did block it up.
Mitchell.
Great ball. Great catch. Yo, that's your guy. You kind of said it.
I know they're feeding them.
Good for I mean, like the amount of Georgia linebackers, Munden, but also C.J. Allen, Braylon Wilson, they're so loaded there.
No, that's definitely true, but yeah, I mean that's like what Tyler Warren does.
All right, that's a good start. That's a good start for Notre Dame. They need that. And they need Mitchell Evans to play like that too.
They 100%, because I don't see the why. Like Faison, I like what he does for sure, but I don't see him taking over in the same way that Mitchell Evans can. If Mitchell Evans
Aeneas Williams, low key, good football player. Sorry to interrupt you.
He's really good.
Everybody talks about Price and Jeremiah Love. I feel like, and that Love and Price are awesome too. But Aeneas Williams, he could play.
I was gonna say, don't get over your skis and try to make this like shade at Jeremiah Love, because there's still levels to this game, and Jeremiah Love is.
I think he's the best back they have too, 100%.
He might be the best back in the country. He is incredible.
Outside of Ashton Genty. Caveat.
Maybe.
No.
Oh.
Hey, he's been playing some Hanover.
Vanover. Dude, they just have 3 defensive ends who are all legitimately like monsters.
And they just lost Chop Robinson last year. And it's funny because when Abdul Carter was hurt, they had Vanover kind of play the Abdul Carter position. Dylan, one is funny. I feel like Abdul Carter and Jalen Walker, they do very similar things for Penn State and Georgia. Just like the front 7 chess piece. Yeah, Jalen Walker was a little bit more off-ball linebacker, but all right. Here's another 3rd and long. Like, can Notre Dame block him up here?
Is it Jalen Kimber?
AJ Harris.
Getting my SEC transfers.
They both spent some time at Georgia, right? I think Kimber was Georgia to Florida.
Kimber, okay.
All right, hey, that's two solid drives by the offense. Like, I know no points, but like both offenses moving the football. If you're Marcus Freeman and James Franklin, you're taking those offensive drives all night, in my opinion.
Oh, I mean, you get like, I feel like because first downs, that's
okay. You can't. Oh,
that's
it's fair to catch it at the 2.
You can't catch that punt.
All right, let's get into this Louisville debate. Let me hear it.
Can you have 0 high school players ostensibly that you develop on your program and still win games? Is that feasible? Is that a feasible path forward?
Look, it's early.
They are recruiting nobody in high school, and they are losing everybody from their high school classes relatively consistently. I don't see that as a way.
It's early to make that assessment because you are seeing teams like Ole Miss kind of doing that too. I mean, they're recruiting high school a little bit, but
I think you're like there's so different level in terms.
Okay, so how about this? Like, explain to me the success Louisville's having, and why don't you think it can be sustained? Like, they attract good quarterbacks out of the portal. Tyler Shuck, good quarterback, stayed healthy, played well for them. Miller Moss, I think, is going to be a very good quarterback for Louisville in the 2025 year. Like, to me, and then you combine that with if you had equal talent on both sides and you're picking a coach to go win you a football game, Coach Brown's top 10. Like, I don't know if he's like a program roster builder, recruiter, like some of the other best coaches in the country. As a pure ball coach that knows how to coach football, to me, Brom, it doesn't get much better.
Well, and let's like be realistic.
What at Purdue? Purdue is hard to win.
The right way at Purdue, though.
Yeah, well, now he's
lost his mind. I feel like he's lost his mind. He's lost his way at Louisville. Like, what he is, again, his high school classes are so small.
Also, shout out to this. I'm on Penn State too. I didn't take the under, but I think that would be my best slip. Penn State under 46.
I just took Penn State straight up to cover the.
So I don't know if I will. It's hard to say. I'm not ready to be that critical of Coach Brown because I do think he's built, like, the first 2 years he's been there, they've had really good rosters. And if he can continue to have good rosters every single year, they're going to continue to win games.
I think they got through a weak ACC. Did enough. Like, I mean, they still they lost to Stanford and they didn't beat any of the good teams besides Clemson.
And they went into Clemson and smacked them around too.
They did smack Clemson around, but
Also, they don't recruit high school kids.
I don't know.
That freshman running back they have from South Florida,
he is a monster.
Isaac Brown. I love his game.
I agree with that, but
Miami's probably kicking themselves for letting him get out. I think he was from Hollywood, Florida.
He wanted to go to Miami. He should be there, but this is brutal. You can't catch that line. Put it right.
And these yards matter. Like now, Notre Dame, good chance.
Matter, and it's like because if Notre Dame can get an easy stop, like I don't know, Penn State can't call what they want to call right now, and
you're gonna see this look all day. Just single eye safety, mugging the line of scrimmage.
I would be doing. Oh, they go offside.
I think so.
Do they not call that? It's kind of crazy. I felt like that was pretty clearly offside
too.
That Rubio guy, shout out to him.
Gritty.
Wearing the old crossbar, old school Notre Dame helmet. The guy's a tank. And like again, we talk like, oh, what were they going to do to replace Riley Mills? Like, I guess Rubio's going to be sick.
Well, you got to give Marcus Freeman so much credit. The amount of injuries this team has gone through this year, and like, I mean, it started in fall camp, losing their starting tackle. And they just don't miss a beat.
I know it is kind of crazy. Like they're losing like really like
good football players. Yeah, some of the best players on the team.
But then
we'll see. I mean, what did we talk about before we went live here? Is like can Notre Dame play 4 quarters here on the defensive line?
Well, Howard Cross, like for whatever reason, is like an alien and doesn't need to come off the field ever. So that's certainly
he's been one of the most underrated defensive linemen
really
for the last couple of years. He was awesome last year too.
He's so good.
But Georgia didn't really stay on the football field, so he didn't really test their depth at all. Now we'll see if they can here. It's a great run. It's a big first down. It's a really big first down. Even if you don't get any points here.
Get him out. Yeah, at least get him out of the get him off the goal line. That center for Penn State, by the way, he is awesome. And that there's going to be
that's the example. Yeah, like these wide receivers can't separate.
No, not an inch of it.
We'll see what Coach K dials up. Yeah, I feel like you got to get.
Yeah, I can't care.
His brain working.
Junior T, by the way. Gotta watch out for him.
Second time they've gone to that, it's worked both times.
Yeah. They're getting themselves to the perimeter pretty well, honestly. This is just pretty big for third down, too. I mean, they all kind of are, but...
Yeah, I mean, at least Penn State's staying on schedule a little bit. You know, that you get 3rd and 5, you feel better about it. This feels like it's got to go to Tyler Warren. I'm super interested to see how they deal with Tyler Warren. They're going to do everything they can. Dude, it's just like these. They even tried to bunch him up.
They're just not getting off the line.
No. Well, they're just not getting.
That's going to be the frustrating part because, like, you're kind of right. I mean, even like aside from Tyler Warren, I feel like that's going to be what it's going to look like all game. It's just
This Notre Dame defense is legit though. Like, there's no real weakness.
No, it's unbelievable for sure. So some questionable
NFL gonna steal ND coach. Yeah, zero. These Penn State wide receivers just aren't good enough. NFL gonna steal the Notre. I know
he's getting his looks. I know he's kind of playing it down, but he's definitely gonna get his looks.
There's no way. I don't think he leaves. I think. Okay, I might be wrong.
Cincinnati's gonna go for him. I think.
Does Marcus Freeman not just strike you as a college guy though?
Oh, I thought we were talking about Golden.
Oh, Golden.
I wouldn't be super worried about Marcus Freeman. I don't think. because I feel like he's in a really good spot. And if he rocks that boat, then you run the Chip Kelly risk where he never got himself back on track. It was
yeah, if I'm Marcus Freeman, I think you got a good thing going here. Grass ain't
you
always
gotta
greener, as Dan Marino
you gotta at least kick it around for 5-10 years. I mean, maybe if you get bored, or something, but
yeah.
But he's so young in the career. I would be surprised. I don't think I'd leave if I were him. It's
The only reason you would leave is that because head coach in college football has got to be one of the more stressful, difficult jobs. There's never can never rest. You finish your season and then the transfer portal opens up. And if you're making the playoffs, you're balancing recruiting the transfer portal and prepping for the playoffs. For 12 months of a year, you're not only going out and recruiting, but you're trying to recruit and make sure you keep your roster. And then winter workout starts while you're on the road recruiting. And then spring practice starts. And then you got summer visits on the
that's a little overplayed. That feels to me a little overplayed for the big schools. The big schools, if you look, do they really lose that many really good players when their programs are running the way they are? You certainly are going to lose depth guys. That's going to be, I think everyone's kind of accepted that's going to be part of the game. But I mean, you don't see Notre Dame losing guys like Howard Cross. Howard Cross would have gotten
okay, so that might have been a little overblown, but I am saying you have to continue to recruit your roster. What I think is not overblown is how busy it is to coach college football. Are these two definitely in the playoffs? Well, Georgia too. I mean, it's that's the best matchup here for Notre Dame. We're just gonna play man coverage, play single high, and your wide receivers can't get open on us. Shout out MH. He's been rocking with the fellas for years now. We always appreciate it. But I agree. It's kind of interesting. Ohio State, Texas, they got good wide receivers, but these two programs, Georgia, horrible wide receiver rooms. Maybe we're going back to the good old days. Line of scrimmage wins.
I see. I get that to an extent.
No, it's a joke. I'm definitely joking about that. I mean, you did see Michigan last year,
but you still have a guy. You still have a Colson Loveland who's just a real weapon. And
that's my nervous part about Notre Dame is I don't know if they at least Penn State has Tyler Warren. I just don't know. I don't know.
Mitchell Evans, he's playing that.
He's playing good so far, but we haven't seen that all year. Abdul Carr's dude. I mean, he's unblockable. It's the best player on this football field. It's not close.
Jeremiah Love.
What about him?
Abdul Carter's? He is.
You got to stop with the Jeremiah Love when we're talking Abdul Carter. Look, I'm a fan of Jeremiah Love like the next guy, but Abdul Carter,
you're not a fan like I am.
Yeah, but I mean Abdul Carter is a little different.
I don't know.
Clearly,
Jeremiah Love's really good. So is Howard Cross for that matter. But
stop. You're getting me worked up. Worked up on a Thursday night. I won't let it happen.
I want to see Notre Dame attack this team. I want to see a little more of a physical, in-your-face run scheme. I don't like this go to the perimeter.
I was going to say I don't hate that because you're just reading Abdul Carter, who actually played that perfectly. But hey, what's the best way to block Abdul Carter?
Just too fast. Their whole defense is fast. Where you can get them is get on them, try to create a crease. I feel like that's they're not big defensive tackles. Just run at them. Vanover.
Oh, getting the young offensive line rocking a little bit.
Yeah, Penn State's flying around. I mean,
I like that. I mean, again, this is a Notre Dame offense. Nobody's talked about it. It's such a young offensive line.
That's definitely facts. Yeah.
Do some of that stuff.
But the ball.
These guys were taking algebra 6 months ago. Maybe a little more than that. 12 months ago. This is death for Notre Dame. These 3rd and 12s.
Oh yeah.
Tom Allen getting creative. You don't even need to get that creative. I look at it and say
they can't block it. These tackles
block Vanover. I think they're going Vanover, Dennis Sutton, Abdul Carter, that and this Isaac on the inside. It's like a rocket pass rush.
That's the play, Penn State. That is the type of thing that'll certainly shake this game up, and that's not where they just can't have Riley Leonard in that position.
Yeah, 3rd and 12, you're toast. You're toast. You're burnt toast if you live in these situations, 100%.
Because Notre Dame's been so good about like kind of avoiding the game falling too much into his hands. Not even like as I mean, that's just I feel like
I disagree. I'm higher on Riley Leonard than you are. I think that's just a bad mistake trying to do too much on 3rd and 12. But he's taking care of the football for most of
Yeah, but that's because they're not asking him to do a whole lot. Like if you look at how this offense is developed, it is everything's underneath. It's him running the ball, and he's
again. Yeah, they're asking him. I'll rephrase that for you. They're asking him to do. They're asking him to do what he's good at. That's what I think, and I think Mike Denbrock's done a great job. It's just not pushing the ball down the field.
Playing elite quarterback.
That's getting disrespectful on me, but I also think there's a little.
I don't know. Maybe we're watching two separate games, and like it's working. They're here.
Yeah, they're here.
And like obviously, like Michigan tried to do that, they couldn't do it. It's like you still need to be a good enough quarterback.
Okay, this is sorry to interrupt you. This came to my head though. This is when they dial it up right here.
Shot play?
Yeah, like there's going to be something coming out of this break that I like.
Tyler Warren line up at tackle or something?
Tyler Warren, Wildcat quarterback, throws a dime down the field. No, but I do think this would be, in all seriousness, I do think this would be something where if I'm out Golden and Marcus Freeman, I'm perking my ears up and saying let's be disciplined here because they're gonna get something, gonna get a little funky here.
I gotta get a little funky for sure. Well, I do kind of agree. Like that'll be kind of one of those things I just feel like we're looking for is does Kolnicki have one or two of those plays a game? Because that's all the difference was between them and basically
Michigan. This will be the. I agree. Like, and this is a kind of game where it legitimately could be 10-13.
And can Drew make like a handful of big time plays?
Which we've seen him do. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. That's why when you ask me like who would I take, Drew or Riley Leonard, I don't think it's like super close.
In this football game, I think because Riley Leonard's ability to make things happen when it's ugly, I think matters.
Drew's been doing that though.
Not as good as Riley, in my opinion.
Not as good, but he's got such a much higher upside as a passer too.
Yeah, fair.
I'm a big. I've really kind of come on to Drew Lar.
Where would Drew stack if he declared for the draft? Where would he stack up for you? What is your NFL draft quarterback rankings now with Carson back?
It's honestly it's just not a great draft QB class. I feel like I'd probably go Cam Ward 1, probably Shedeur 2, but that's it. Aside from that, I think it gets a little hazy. Like Will Howard's playing unbelievable ball right now, but I've seen enough of him to like have some questions.
Will this game have a flea flicker? I think this game is going to have a few trick plays. I think both of these offenses need that kind of stuff.
I would agree with that. You need something a little crazy. They have 7 interceptions. Well, I guess SMU gave them a zillion.
I think Boise State threw him 3 too.
Yeah, you're right. 3-3-1. There's your guy.
Yeah, 3-3-1. Hey, where is he? Yes. Get him the rock.
This is a good play. I like that play.
Yeah, that's what you're gonna need. Like it a lot. Dude, Tyler Warren's just a dog.
He's so good. He's just running through guys.
Now they're going tempo. We've seen Penn State do this, and I like it.
Yeah, when you get your offense rolling, I don't mind seeing a little tempo. Just haven't seen Penn State's offense until this year.
Especially in this game when we're talking about getting to depth.
It's downs.
There sure shouldn't be anywhere near the quarterbacks in this NFL draft. We got family that are New York Giants fans, and they need a quarterback. I'm like, last year was the year because this year that's a hold now.
I mean, that's why you got to think, like, I'm almost a little surprised a guy like Drew doesn't think to go. And I'm like, if I'm a Penn State fan, I'm stoked that he's back. But, like, with this class where you're –
I agree, but I do think there's another level of consistency that Drew can reach.
I agree. And especially if they can, like, attract some more weapons as they start to, like, show out a little more. Not that they've exactly done that, but –
I think now this might be four down territory here.
I think you go here. Yeah. You got a little momentum. I think you go.
I think you go to here. I mean, I think you go here. I think that's why you ran the football.
You got to go. You got a chance to kind of like not get a hold of the game, but like really
trick play time. I feel like it's got to be. I do feel like it's got to be coming soon. It's a big play. These teams are not going to be in scoring position that all that often.
Oh, Stingley. I like it. I like what Penn State's doing on offense. Like the right mix. The right mix of being able to like attack this Notre Dame team a little bit inside. Colton Nicky's doing his thing. What do you think about it? I like the play calling right now personally. I think
100%. I think he's schemed up a lot of positive plays.
Like they're getting themselves some space. That's all you can ask your coach.
And there's a couple of throws that Drew had there. I think that wheel.
The Tyler Warren one, I know we didn't really, but that's a bad throw. That needs to be.
That was a tough. Oh,
it's a tough throw, but it should be made.
Also, this kid who just made the tackle, Bryce Young, covered him.
Yeah,
so he's gonna be a freak show. He's got to develop a little bit more.
He can like get almost like the smoothness in his game down and be a little like more fluid.
Yeah, but man,
it feels like a little robotic now, but.
Yeah. He's a long. You got to get all that length moving in the right direction. But I think he's going to be a stud.
But you already see him overwhelming guys with the length and stuff.
Yeah, he's going to be outside of the last game of Georgia. He roughed the punter or ran.
That was a tough start, but he did get it rolling a little bit.
Yeah,
there's your guy, Luke. Not creating a ton of space, but making a good catch in traffic.
Has there been a throw that like they're outside of that little slip screen to Tyler Warren? Every throw Drew's made is just like blanket.
Oh yeah, they're really making him work.
It's a really good drive though. I like Luke Reynolds. I think he's gonna be a stud too. He's growing out the hair like Tyler Warren.
Respect that. Just be Tyler Warren.
It's not a bad role model. I heard Hogan Hanson's trying to be like Colson Loveland.
I love it.
Here we go.
This is a really good drive. Tyler Warren's trying to get him going, like trying to go fast.
I like it. I like the pace. I want this. This is the type of drive that's going to win Penn State this football game here. Like cheap power cross on the football field for 15 plays, get some hands on hips. They don't have the defensive line rotation.
They sure ran it into that.
Now they're a little confused too.
That was a gross one. You're right. They get Howard Cross off now. I think they should have been running the ball there, though. On that second down, that was a perfect time, I would have thought.
Yeah. Maybe it's 4 down again. No, you're taking points anyway. You can get them here, I think. I get being aggressive. When you have the 3 points is cool.
No, you kick it. Unless you're on like 4th and inches, then I maybe get it. But like if they don't get yards here, that's you're kicking. What do you think they have? Oh my God, Drew, what are you doing? Oh, they're lucky. If they get a hold, that's huge. Because that is probably one of the most unexcusable mistakes of this game.
That was a duck. That was like such an ugly football out of Drew too.
Okay, they're lucky. That was so ugly. I don't know, like, what was he thinking?
Yeah, those are the mistakes you
can't make them in this game.
Yes, in the red zone like that. Holy smokes. They're going to a lot of those bunches, trying to help with the release.
Yeah.
I mean, that throw is I know.
Oh, they're doing that like a wham block with that. They love this play. With number 71 pulling.
Oh, yeah. I love it too.
We've seen him do it like 40 times this year.
It's a big dog going downhill.
He loves it.
Yeah, you can tell he loves it. It's like the dream for 6 offensive linemen or rotation. Like,
he's not, but isn't he? I thought he was like their starter.
Let me just go box somebody. We've seen them do that a lot. I do like it too.
They're doing it again. Just running it right back.
Yep. Put the big dog in motion and go be a sledgehammer.
They got to follow him.
All right. Big third down.
Get the quarter break before we get it. This is a huge third down.
Dude, I'm just that Drew pick makes me nervous about my bet the rest of the game, though. That was very bad. I don't think he's been that sharp early.
Well, I don't know. They've had pretty clean drives. Not that they've been on his back per se. And again, the problem is these guys are not creating any separation.
I think Coach K is doing a great job. I think that this has been a very nicely scripted drive.
I like this run scheme they're running for sure. I think it's been pretty clean. But you're right. Drew is left probably. Well, he left the Tyler Warren play. You'd probably like to see him make that. And then the pick.
I got a question for you here, Dill. Yeah. I wrote down some questions to allow us to talk during commercial breaks. I think that was smart of me. Big Ten power rankings going into 2025.
I fully admit there's no way I can be totally biased.
Would love in the comments in the chat too. You guys let us know your ranks too. We'll start throwing them up there.
I think Ohio State takes a step back.
The question is like how big is the step back that they take? Because they're losing a lot. And like as a Michigan fan, I'd like to see it be a big step back.
They're basically losing what Michigan lost. Almost.
Yeah, dude. Kind of similar, right?
But like obviously they recruited better the years. Michigan left some disgusting periods of recruiting.
But it was very similar to Michigan because after Ohio State lost to Michigan last year, all those guys, Jack Sawyer should have went to the draft, Travion Henderson, JTT, Tyreek Willing. Like there's a bunch of guys that decided they were Makabuka. They decided they were coming back for one more year. Now
there were literally like 15 or 20 of them. Yeah. I mean, if you really because you can get into like Denzel Burke, even get into a Lathan Ransom, get into the offense.
They still got some. What do they do at quarterback? I
would guess it's going to be Oregon.
You got Oregon 1?
Oregon, Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State. Probably how I do it.
Ohio State 4?
Yeah. Dude, I think Ohio State's lose a lot of guys.
Yeah,
they're not really reloading the clip in the portal like they did. Not that they had to per se last year, but I don't know. I haven't been wowed by what CJ Donaldson's not.
I think it's hard to put them 4 though. This was how much talent they have stockpiled away. I'm just worried about their quarterback. Yeah, to me.
You get thinned out naturally.
No, I agree, but is Julian saying the guy is probably where you start that conversation. All right, we'll continue after.
Carson Beck is the X factor.
I think they're a sneaky player. I know everyone's saying Miami. I think Carson Beck would make a lot of sense at Ohio State.
Jay Koldenicki is doing his job here. He's players though. You're gonna help him out.
That's my thing with Drew, though, Dill. If we're being honest, like I know that's probably got to be caught.
No,
but
that's
he makes some plays that my draw drops. I mean, these plays you just gotta put it on the outside shoulder. You put it on the back hip to a running back.
That's
backs can't catch.
Really, really bad. That's an easy touchdown too.
Ooh, I like that. That's a 4-point swing. That is not good.
Hopefully for Penn State it's 4 points. If they miss this kick, then
they miss this kick. I'm selling my Penn State ticket in this game.
What does Notre Dame have up their sleeve with that timeout call?
Did Notre Dame call the timeout?
I don't have the audio on my broadcast.
We'll see.
But that's what happened.
Let's look at some of these takes here. Ohio State. It's hard for me to not have Ohio State number one. I'm kind of with you here. But I do think Oregon, Penn State, I think Michigan ideally will be back. That's just a little bit of wishful thinking on my part. Here about this hot take, and I love this take.
Yeah.
I love this take.
Yeah.
Florida and Auburn. Yeah. I think Florida – so let's start with Auburn first. Auburn around the quarterback position I think is really, really dang good. I think they got difference makers on the outside. I think they have a very, very solid offensive line. They have a very solid defense. The defense was actually very good. Nobody talked about it because of the turnover problems and quarterback problems. That Auburn defense was good. I like Auburn. If Jackson Arnold could play the way we all thought he'd play out of high school, though, and I'm not ready to throw Jackson Arnold in the dumpster because he was playing on Oklahoma offense bottom of the SEC running the football, worst offensive line and pass protection, playing with the practice squad as your pass catchers. I mean, I'm not selling my stock on Jackson Arnold, I don't think. And then you look at Florida.
Florida's got the guy. That's the fundamental difference. Is you got no questions, if, ands, or buts. They have DJ Lagway, and they have a darn good team around them.
Want to know the crazy part about DJ Lagway, in my opinion, is he was playing with a bummed hamstring. All the end in November, playing damn well.
The fact that he beat Ole Miss on one leg is that's different. That's next level.
And that, his athleticism is a massive part of his game as a quarterback. Yeah. I like Florida a lot. Billy Napier needs to show me that this team's going to be a little different, though. There's still some of those mistakes.
In fairness, they were down the stretch. They were really clean. They were dominant. They were
super dangerous team in the month of November.
They were. Everybody came back, which I love. I agree with this, by the way. Oregon, you still see needs, especially in the secondary. They need a bigger, more physical secondary.
I don't know if I'd use the word physical. I think I'd use the word speed. I think that Ohio State just was kind of running circles around them in that football game. Whether it was getting the run game out to the perimeter, these linebackers just couldn't run and chase. The safeties were a problem all year. That's the thing. You knew Kobe Savage and Tasheem Johnson. They're just not those super long, rangy, athletic safeties. Tasheem Johnson's a nickel. Kobe Savage is a veteran body, but definitely capped in terms of his athleticism. Yeah, we'll talk more about Oregon because I think they're close. I think that was a kind of just a really bad.
They got their guys, the best guys on their team were the sophomore class. Those guys were hammers, Tatum and
Mateo,
DJU's brother,
Mateo. Yeah. And they got a good crop of defensive. One of the what does Aiden Breland look like?
It's going to be about what the young safeties
and I love them, Kingston Lopa and all that. Yeah, I like them a lot too. All right, 2nd and 14. Notre Dame's got to stop taking these negative plays.
That's how they should be running the football. Just line it up and try to get on these guys. That's because they're going to slash and they're going to slam.
That was a little bit of a draw, though, too. I think they got Penn State in a little bit of a pass rush set there. Just getting, but you do know I am with you.
Plays on the defensive line. Yeah, they're always they're always trying to get in gaps.
Yeah, agreed with that.
What Penn State just run the ball. See, also, my issue with them running Riley Leonard as much is he is not as explosive as the running backs, and I want explosive runners to take better advantage of what Penn State does.
You have to run Riley Leonard in this football game.
I get it, but they're not running their backs.
Another injury on Notre Dame's offensive line.
That's your true freshman left tackle, right?
Let's see how they shuffle the deck. I think that's the guard, but you could double check me on that.
It's Anthony Knapp.
Tackle.
54, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Shrouth. That's they're. I mean, Tosh Baker's been around for forever. Is that who they go with now?
We'll see. It didn't look horrible. Hopefully, they didn't get him back.
No, it didn't look that bad. I mean, he looked
going
like
into there.
He's played really good for a lot of these young dudes up front.
Dude, I think Marcus Freeman's cooking with Notre Dame. Like it's like they've had to rely on a lot of young players that haven't played a lot. They've all played pretty dang good. And the injuries that they have gone through this year is absolutely nuts. They're going to ride with CJ Carr next year, you think, at quarterback?
I heard that they're not going to the portal for a guy.
Yeah, so I like that. It's a good sign. They got a couple of young quarterbacks on their roster.
Well, because even, honestly, Steven Jelly's not bad. Not like the youngest, but I feel like your floor is not super low, if you will.
I want to get back to this Oregon Ducks conversation. We'll get it maybe in the next commercial break. We're going to be talking a lot about that, like the next step. And I think that's a really fun conversation to have with Oregon.
It's about getting their recruits through the program, and if they can hang on to them the way they've been doing it. And
okay,
that's like we get back into you're dragging me back into the Jeff Brom slander, but that's the recipe in college football, I think.
Yeah, I think
recruit really good high school players, develop them really well in your system, and add pieces in the port.
Fill the cracks. And I do totally agree with that, but I think when you're at Louisville, it might have to look a little different if you want to compete at the highest level. I think it might have to. We'll see. I mean, you gotta admit they've evaluated out of the portal well. Like they've hit on a lot of guys they bring in.
Yeah, but the sample size is low, and frankly, I think you can do that for a year.
Okay, so what if they win more in year 3? Like, are you just gonna keep making that argument until when are you not gonna
until they surpass the big boys? Yeah, probably.
Sure. I mean, but that's a crazy way to evaluate. Until they win a national championship, we can't evaluate if Jeff Brom's doing it right.
Fine. I get the point.
Get me worked up again. Second pre-snapper for Notre Dame.
No, I think they just blew it. I don't think it's a penalty. I'm guessing it's a clock issue or something.
Got it.
God, we got to figure the clock out, though. This is chaos. I think there must be something in the stadium or something.
She going to the locker room?
I'm like, what do you think? Or are they just walking it out? Just go get it taped up
looks like a locker room visit. That's their left tackle, yeah?
Yeah.
Immediately putting 2 tight ends over there, protecting them. Like it.
See, it's okay. It's Riley Leonard. Again, you think I'm hating on him and stuff, but they ask him to do that, they'll be fine.
Yeah. Again, I think the question is, can they win a national championship doing that? We'll see.
That's the problem, because when you bump into Ohio State, there's like a way that they can get where you need more.
Yeah, I think you will at some point, and it might be in this football game. You might need a little bit more. We'll see.
Although, like, if your defense is good enough, like, honestly, like, you look back, like, Michigan didn't really need to do it much last year. Georgia, I feel like in their first title, they didn't really need a ton of explosiveness.
Also, side note, Riley Leonard's just tough as nails.
Yeah.
Good dog.
Put his head down and run right in the
defense. And, like, delivering punishment. A decent rep by that new left tackle, too.
Yeah, he's been around.
He was ones on Abdul Carter there. That's where my eyeballs were.
They'll probably get fine play from him. I mean, honestly, both these teams are like kind of moving the ball more than I would have thought.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do agree with that.
And not being explosive, obviously, but they are like getting their first downs.
We knew neither of them were going to be all that explosive.
I know, but I didn't think they'd move the ball.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
That's disgusting.
Empty set. They look to go quarterback run here. Yep.
Good call. But...
Oh, sweet Jesus. Excuse me. Yeah, that's not good. I mean, it does feel like we're just...
They're too fast for this, Jay. They need to get...
Well, I mean, like, we just got to stop taking the negative plays that we're taking here.
That's why you get downhill and stop running this.
You sound like that.
Yeah, this is old school.
That 40-year-old gym teacher. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like... But there's a reason. Sometimes you got to do it. Sometimes you got to run the ball, Jay. It's a fast defense. You know that like quick game that Notre Dame runs to the perimeter, but when everybody's like fast. It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, it's like as much as I want to complain about the play, it's just
it's good. They're a good team.
You have the difference, you're an offense that might not have as many difference makers as you want outside of the running backs, and you're playing a really good defense. And they're kind of scripting themselves out of the run game late in the downs, taking all these negative plays. I mean, we've seen them in 3rd and long all day. You got to get out of that.
Yeah, no, that in that. But that's why I want like their like take those 4-yard gains, that like run that. I mean, it wasn't like the prettiest thing in the world, but
all right, back to our conversation with Oregon. If I were to ask you, what does Oregon need to do to take that step? You're saying just develop high school guys, or what on the roster needs to change?
Well, talent in the middle of the field, that linebacker and safety. Yeah, fundamentally.
And they did it with the safeties. I mean, you bring.
I will say, I think Notre coming back. That's big. Yeah. Notre was starting to play.
What they need is Devin.
Jackson.
I was going to call him Devin Jacobs. I was getting Justin Jacobs, Devin Jackson, because he's like that athletic juice linebacker. They also got a young kid who's a true freshman this year, in Braden Platt, who was a sub-11 guy in the 100-meter. I like him a lot. But it just seemed like they lacked a little athleticism. And maybe in the line, but I didn't think it was as much the line of scrimmage play as it was
the line of scrimmage, if you look, like when they got a chance to start being disruptive, they were. It's just like their secondary in the middle of the field was just getting cooked.
Yeah. It was kind of frustrating how ill-prepared they seemed out in space. Like, we just saw them do the same thing against Tennessee. It was like, didn't really seem ready for it.
Yeah, that was just disappointing.
Like that's probably my overarching take on Oregon as a whole. Is it kind of like, look, we saw them play this same football team 2 months ago and won. Like, they just played a really bad game where they got down late or down early, and then kind of had to get out of their game script. I don't think it's time to just like panic on what Dan Lanning and Oregon's doing. They've gotten better every single year he's been in Eugene.
Yeah, no, I agree. Anyone who's like thinking that's not on the right track.
And I'm interested to see how people talk about Oregon, like national media, because like it's one of those teams that on paper is losing a lot to the NFL draft, right? You're losing both tackles. You're losing obviously Dylan Gabriel, Tez Johnson, Derek Carr. You could go down the list, but I think they got a lot of good football players that just weren't playing that I think will be.
Well, the O-line will be in.
That's my biggest concern, the tackle play, because you're losing two really, really good tackles.
You got Isaiah Wells coming in; he can play,
and that Harkey kid from Texas State.
You're right.
They did do a good job addressing the which was to me like the glaring, like, what are we going to do at tackle next year?
They also hadn't recruited that position. Like
that's the position that, maybe it lacked a little bit on the recruiting trail.
And they have some guys coming.
Now, the thing is, you want to make sure you get it going on the recruiting trail, because that's going to be hard to do every single year to replenish and get.
But they did. I feel like they have a couple good tackles coming around.
I like Douglas Utu and Zaire Addison.
Yeah, I was going to say. I was trying to think of the other. I knew it was Zaire, but
I love Zaire. I think it'd be very good.
All right, Drew's starting to scare me a little bit here. Got to make one of these,
dude.
Got to make one of these, Jay.
To me, like that's.
Oof.
We know.
That's a vicious stat that ESPN just hit him with.
What are they hitting him with? Us. Maybe you settle in. Hopefully for my Penn State bet, they'll settle in.
You gotta make it happen here. Run the ball though. Saying that Drew is overrated at this very moment feels like maybe fair.
My thing on Drew is like there's some serious talent in that arm, but it is inconsistent, and he does make some throws that are just like, dude. But you might see him make some throws that drop your jaw. That's why I think NFL teams, because if you're a GM or an offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach, and you look at Drew, it's like, let me get my hands on him. Like if let me get to work with this kid. But it is a problem on a consistency.
Right now, it's been really weak.
We'll see if you can settle in, because he's played some good football.
No, like Oregon, he looked awesome.
Here we go again.
That's a sick run by him. Like, how do you get that feel from the tight end spot to run the ball like that? Like the patience and the.
Yeah, he's a stud.
That's crazy.
Yeah, agreed. This is my take on him too, especially after what we're seeing tonight. Super. And that's why I'm happy he's coming back for one more year. Like, not necessarily.
Yeah, you're probably right when I was saying that. Like,
I think there's just another level, because you saw him jump. Like, he's clearly gotten better from 2023 to this year, and then if he takes another jump, look at that.
Oh my God, that dude's sick, Jay. That dude's sick.
Yeah.
Stiff arm.
Did you see that stat they just put up with explosive plays? That's the difference between this Penn State team this year and last year.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
I think it was such a good hire, dude.
This guy. Like,
agreed.
I feel like we're almost like not
yeah.
appreciating how good he's played in terms of like play calling 100% better, 100% more creative. But this Tyler Warren, like, he is.
I agree with that. 2nd and 1 shot play here, right? Gotta be. I do agree, but nobody talked about the Coach Kolnicki hire. I felt like, and it was like this could be really good for Penn State.
Yeah, they really make a monster.
Especially, I'm surprised you haven't seen as many 2 running back sets, because they did that a lot with him at Kansas with Devin Neal and Highshaw. You haven't seen it as much this year, as much as you would have expected. Not that they're going to run it all the time.
They're running that ball, that an inside zone or the zone scheme they run. Very effective.
What, Drew?
This is like kind of the drive if I'm Penn State.
Does it seem like they're getting to Notre Dame's depth a little bit? Just take a look at some body language from the defensive line. Like these, because what was the drive we just saw before? It was like 15 plays. These are the drives that I think can win you this football game here.
Yeah, they really are, and they're playing with the
just chunking them up. Hey, Kingston Viliamu Assad, though.
Yes,
he's been healthy. It's cool. I like him a lot.
It's a really good play. A really good play by Snead.
Backers are good for Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah, they're so good. That was the position I felt like I had questions coming into the year, but yeah, they're doing their thing.
You had question marks at backer?
Well, a little bit. You lost some that number 8.
I like
Drake Bowen's played much like Drake Bowen's really good.
They've all stepped up. That's what I'm talking about Notre Dame. That it seems like a lot of their players are just getting better. They get them out of the high school ranks and they get them right.
I agree with that.
You go here?
Yeah, probably. Well, no, actually, I don't think you do. I think they are going to go, but I don't think I would.
I think you go. Up 3. I mean, like, what? You don't get it here. I think that's why you ran it.
Notre Dame a chance to swing it back. Like, get a stop, get a score, and Notre Dame's right back in this thing. Oh. I guess if you have Tyler Warren, you might as well just go because you can't stop that dude.
Like it. All right, I think we got our next conversation in the commercial break. 8-team playoff.
I don't hate that take. I wouldn't mind seeing this field shrink a little bit, but I'll save my takes for the commercial break as well.
I mean, it's been exclusively running the football. Is that running the football on a screen?
And they're pounding it too. Like they're getting all out of space before contact.
What was the last? I'll look at the play count here.
Probably at least it's got to be over 10, right?
Oh yeah, I think it'd be at least 10 here. We're looking at a 14 play, 55-yard field goal drive, and now another 14 play, 84 yards. I mean that's a lot of snaps for this defensive line to be on the football field. Throwing a lot of different looks at this team too.
Yeah, this has been a
12 rushes, 2 passes.
That's how it should be. Well, I mean, when you're running the ball this way, like
why stop?
Bang.
Dude, they're just scheming it up here. Coach Koldenicki, I think, having a great game.
He's on it.
Yeah, I agree. That touchdown was big. You needed 6 after that last drive. Got it. Was he in?
Yeah, I it kind of looked like it to me. It's a really, really good drive.
These are the drives that are going to win you that football game, I feel like. All right, you can take the 18 playoff. I got to use the bathroom. A little too much coffee for the kid.
18 playoff. And I think the field's too big at 12. I think, like, if you just look at it, because even the teams that everyone was saying should have been in, I look at, like, an Alabama or an Ole Miss or even a South Carolina, like, those kind of SEC teams that were on the fringe, like, I feel like you didn't have 12 teams that could win it. I mean, you barely have 8. I'd be okay with 8, frankly, because I look like that's fine. But I mean, frankly, I was okay with the 4 because especially like for thinking of some of those like late season games, like a Michigan, Ohio State, or that type of game. Like, you didn't take away all the meaning, but as like a Michigan fan, it would have been nice to be able to like crush Ohio State's year. Obviously, they didn't get the chance, and on the other side of it, clearly Ohio State kind of belongs in this thing, but that's kind of what I agree. Like, MH, that 6 teams, 8 teams, something like that. Like, because you're right, they're just beyond that. The teams, are they good enough at their best to be competitive? Perhaps, but I don't think you play a championship season. And to me, I feel like that matters. Like, you want to see teams like kind of go through with one loss or something like that, where I guess you almost feel like they deserve it more than like a team that loses 3 times, sneaks their way in, and then even if they get hot somehow, it's like you still don't feel like that's a championship season to me.
Are you talking about teams like taking less meaning to the regular season?
Yeah. Like, I almost think, like, are you a championship team? And I feel like I've heard Josh Pates, like, if you lose a quarter of your games, it's like, I don't know, it's tough. Like, if
I think
Alabama snuck their way in and got really hot, like, do I think of them as a historically great team? Not even close. I'm like, oh, that's probably the worst champion we've ever seen by moons.
I think Alabama is the perfect example where, like, you can't lose to Oklahoma the way that if it's one game, you get it. And, like, you're getting in with an 18 playoff or 4. You know, and if you have one ugly game, but you can't lose some of the games Alabama lost and then lose the way they did to Oklahoma and then be a play like. And is Alabama a team that would have been more competitive in the playoffs than a team like Boise State or Indiana? Yeah, probably, but I'm kind of with you. Like, you shouldn't be
But
going
that's
9-3.
why, like, you just the answer is cutting the field down. It's not like what Kirk Herbstreit said, just let better teams in. At the end of the day, the answer would be to cut the field.
I see where we are with this, right? Like, 4 teams might be a little too small because that you are keeping out. And I think MH makes a good point too. Like, normally it's pretty clear. Like, there's probably like 8. Like, 8 seems to be a fair number where it's like, all right, those are the teams that can go win a national championship.
Yeah.
12, you're kind of throwing in some teams that you're not sure about. And look, for like me personally, like I don't get like super, like, I get a couple extra playoff games. It's probably going to work its way out. Like, you get another Indiana coming in. All right, they lose. That doesn't bother me too much. I mean, look, I
It
think
doesn't bother me, but I do think, like, what's the point in a sense?
I think and it's never going to be. Yeah, I like, that is what makes college football like so special to me, is like you have to be your best every single Saturday. Like, these regular season games, they matter so much. Where it's like, now it's we lost it. All right, we'll be all right. We lose another one. All right, now we got to win out. I kind of do agree that allure of you have to be sharp and play your best football every single Saturday, because if you don't, it might cost you your chance at a national championship. See, Notre Dame needs to play this way here, but without taking the garbage negative plays they've been taking.
I am very interested to see how they play this final drive. I think they almost need a field goal here, or it's not over. I don't mean to say that, but I feel like it kind of puts them back in this a little bit more than.
Well, look, a 10-point deficit is a lot in this kind of football game here.
Yeah, especially because there's just not going to be enough possessions. Because honestly, Notre Dame's moved the ball okay. It's just there's going to be like 2 possessions in this game. The way they're both playing,
especially the way Penn State's going on offense right now. We're going to run
even the way like Notre Dame has to play. Notre Dame can't score in 4 minutes that easily.
Yeah.
Even a good Notre Dame drive's going to take probably 6.
Who's your pick to win the national championship next year, 2025?
Early? If I had to like bet it based on odds, it'd be Florida. Like
Okay, so no. Who's your pick?
No, like, who's the favorite? Yeah.
Not sure. I do like Florida too. I do.
Because I'm almost thinking like who is like looking at who's going to be like a juggernaut. I think Oregon will be good a lot, but I don't see like a Georgia 23 where it was like, oh, we might not as well play a season. That team's unbelievable.
Georgia 23,
right?
Year, big dog. Who won the national championship in the 2022 season?
Well, what's messing with me is it's 25 now. Yeah, Georgia 22. Like that Georgia 22 year, it's like, well, we might as well.
Great question. I'm prepared. We'll save this one maybe for halftime. I love that.
I think that beats just about everyone. I think that to me is the
Texas for sure. Yeah, Texas with Arch. That could be.
That's a good point. Texas can be a hammer.
Yeah,
because they've recruited so good. They don't lose kids. They do good in the portal.
They recruited the offensive line out of high school. Like I know they'll lose Kelvin Banks, maybe Cam Williams.
But look at those Gooseby in the young kid Baker. They just come in and they don't miss a beat.
If Arch is that guy, which I'm pretty confident that he is, yeah, Texas would be probably an early pick.
That's a good. That probably is a fair.
I think they'd be mine. That I was between them, and I'm debating on if because Oregon was my pick this year going in, which I obviously missed. No, Georgia was my pick, I believe. I think I had Georgia, Oregon
for sure. Although, if I was being honest, Ohio State probably should have been the.
Yeah.
That roster. Whew, that's a good roster. In just for No Name King, the only reason the 12 for the NFL, I just feel like broadly speaking, there's a little bit more parity through the middle. I just feel like in college football, like are you really getting? Can 12 teams win in a given year? I don't totally see it.
See, I what Mitch?
We'll playing into
that more. I do like some of these questions we got teed up for halftime. We're about to get into it here. Penn State started, yeah? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my. Whoever said this is so right. I think Penn State's leading in negative plays. They're definitely leading in rushing yards. Yeah.
And these tackles can't really block them.
I mean, Adissa Isaac just put that guard on his behind.
Adissa Isaac? What a year.
Zane Durant. That's my fault. But, like, you can't. That's tough. That's tough. got a lot of names up in here in this dome. Sometimes they get a little scrambled.
No, I get that.
Another is.
Wait, they're both down?
Jesus. He looks okay. They got to put Riley Leonard in.
Is that protocol? Yeah, that's the only thing I could think of because he didn't look like hurt. Well, that'll be a problem for Notre Dame.
I know they do like this kid. Like I think Notre Dame likes their quarterback room because they were very clear. Like we're not going to the transfer portal.
No, and that's what I wonder. Is it CJ Carr or is it Angeli who's the guy, if you will, who they're looking at? Although, don't they have the guy who committed or decommitted from Clemson too?
Blake, yeah, but he's gonna be a true freshman. I don't know if he'll be
know,
a guy. I do like him a lot, by the way, but
like, where's he stack up talent wise to like a CJ Carr?
no, I think CJ Carr is the guy for sure.
No, like just pure talent. Like I'm not talking like.
I mean, he's big. He's got a big arm. I haven't watched the senior year yet, and so I don't know if I've watched him since his because I don't even know if I watched the junior year because he committed early to Clemson and he was a developed kid. He's like 6'3", 215 as a sophomore, and he was slinging the pill. So I'll have to go back. I don't think he'll be a factor early, at least in my opinion. I think it'd be Angeli Carr. That'd probably be the battle. They get another guy too, Minchie or something.
It's a Jordan Faison.
Hey,
he's been
couple good balls.
Clean player for them. Oh no.
Getting him up to the offensive line quick. My only problem is like, all right, pure pass pro sets. Like, can we keep him clean?
Yeah.
And the answer is no. The answer is no. It's so quick. Did we not get on that though?
That's no good.
It looked like Penn State was going to get on it, but then it looked like he.
That's gross.
That's not good. I'm trying to go to the quick game here. I don't know if I want to be dropped back in again. I guess you're in a spot where you can.
It's got to be hot for sure. Because you've already lost two.
This does not favor, especially with two offensive linemen now. You don't want to be sitting back throwing the football. You got to go to the quick game. How are we not getting on that? Abdul.
I actually can't understand it. It's just losing the tug of war at the bottom of the pile.
Yeah. He was, to be fair. He's he really did just lose the little tug of war. He was a 1-1-1-on-3.
Abdul is not a huge dude.
No. What's the news with Leonard?
Do you have the audio?
Yeah, but I can barely hear it.
Yeah. Not that I think that they just get a sideline report, I suppose. And I don't think I've seen
Kirk getting ready to just say Notre Dame shouldn't be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Should have been Bama.
And then what was he on 3? People are toasting him for that, I saw. And Jelly, though, he's playing composed ball aside from that sack.
It wasn't even his fault. His left tackle got won.
No, that guy got beat very clean. So this was a big drive for them, assuming they can pay it off. This was a really, really good drive for Notre Dame in this spot.
You get 3 here, you feel good. Yeah, especially if you're backup quarterback.
It gets you kind of back in this thing.
What if he throws a seed?
Do you put Riley Leonard back in? Like that is... I'm just kidding. I think you have to, but that does raise the interesting point of almost the Arch versus Quinn. And do you play for the better ceiling or the lower floor?
No, you're definitely not pulling Riley if he's healthy enough to go back in. I was kind of
surprised they didn't get a hold on the right tackle there. But he is getting all grabby with
Abdul.
Yep. I thought so. Even that. Also, just in response, I think Notre Dame would have made the 12-team playoff.
Now let's kick your field goal.
Notre Dame or would have made a 8-6-team playoff. Maybe it would have made 4. Do you think Notre Dame would have made a 4-team playoff? Because I think they would have been really close. And
I do see
the fundamental response would be don't lose to Michigan or NIU. Like those are disgusting losses that, again, I get you want maybe some room for error, but you don't want – those are bad losses in my mind. And I do think there was something about like a team like Georgia going 14-1 with one close loss to Alabama, or a Michigan team going 15-0, and in the LSU 2019 team running the table. Like that to me is
you don't lose that. Like you don't lose those teams who do that.
Yeah, but like you can get a champion that I almost like, do they deserve it on the pedestal that those is that the same as like some of those teams that just wire to wire were awesome? Like
no,
I do think Notre Dame probably would have made it, frankly. Ohio State would have been out, but I'm not sure Ohio State totally deserved to be in. Like, again, because they lost to Michigan.
Well, with an 8-team playoff, they would have been in. They were the eighth seed. They came
and I'd be okay with the 8. I just think the 12 lets in.
I think they're the 7.
The 12 lets in 3 lost teams potentially. I don't think 3 lost teams should be in the playoff, I guess is almost my fundamental point.
I don't. If I'm Notre Dame, like I might just be taking my.
Yeah, you don't need any chaos here.
Yeah. Penn State's trying to create a little chaos.
They can do it. Penn State can create chaos with the best of them. Well, they got lucky. But I think you're right. I feel like the probability of like scoring a touchdown is so low right now.
Especially as you just get that offside.
Although, I don't know. If you get a matchup with Evans, I feel like you can take your shot. Yeah, you got one-on-one up top. That's a kind of a smart play call, I think.
Greg McElroy literally just called it too. He said, "Watch out for Aeneas Williams to slip out." He's so good.
If you know you're gonna get kind of like press man, and you try to rub the almost get a rub route to get that, I think that almost worked. It just Penn State's good, fast defense, but this was a huge drive nonetheless. Assuming nothing crazy. Boy. You gotta take it to half now.
Yeah, call your timeout. Let's take a field goal.
I get a little gnarled here.
You'll take 3 points going into half. That's a big drive.
100%.
All right, let's get into some of these conversations here. 6 teams is perfect. I know I'm like copping out, but like I don't have like a super strong take. 6, 8, 12. I see where you're coming from, but I also see move on. This is the conversation I want to get into. Do you think LSU in 2019 beats the 2021 and 2022 Georgia teams? Yes, in my opinion.
I think so too. That offense.
I'll pull up that team on my phone. It is.
Especially seeing how good all those guys are in the pros. Now, the one thing is that defense wasn't incredible for LSU that year.
Yeah, but who is going score for score with that LSU team?
That's probably the thing. Is like you would have to literally score every time you touched it because they pretty much were.
I look at this from time to time, and even like the defense, like we probably don't give enough credit. Like one, Joe Burrow, that was one of the best quarterback performances we've seen.
I mean, you are right. It was a young
600 yards, 60 touchdowns to 6 interceptions is ludicrous.
Yeah, he was monster.
Now, who was he? He had Clyde Edwards-Helaire running the football, ran for 1,400 yards. But then who was he throwing to? I mean, Jamar Chase, disgusting. You start rolling down this list.
Justin Jefferson, like so good.
Two of the best wide receivers in the NFL right now.
And even the Marshall guy, who I know his pro career hasn't panned out.
Terrace Marshall. I think Thaddeus Moss at tight end was pretty dang good.
Good college tight end. Like they had a first round pick at left tackle. I forget his name, Charles maybe or something.
The offensive line was solid too. Like it had a bunch of NFL dudes.
Yeah, they had pros. So the offense was like out of this world good. And then the defense, you're right, it wasn't incredible, but there's a lot of like Derek Stingley. I think he was a freshman, but still.
Stingley, Pat Queen, and Jacob Phillips at backer.
Kaylavon Chason was
coming off the edge. Damone Clark played a lot too. He was kicking around for a while. Neil Farrell and Tyler Shelvin.
Who is the other tight end? The little dude, number 1, maybe?
The tight end?
No, cornerback, sorry. Fulton. Christian Fulton, another pro. Like that was an insane team.
Hey, know who was on the team?
Who?
Siaki Ika before he transferred to Baylor.
Oh, he was so good.
He didn't play a ton at but that, I mean, like you just had him like cooking.
Siaki Ika is one of my all-time faves.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Guy I feel like didn't get the respect he deserved.
Yeah, but I think it just comes down to like name me a college football team that's going score to score. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson. I just don't think you can.
Again, with like good line play.
You got Texas, Ohio State. It's really hard to it's really hard to pick against Ohio State from what we've seen from them, but I do think Texas provides challenges that Ohio State hasn't seen. Like I think they have a secondary that's currently the number 1 secondary in the country, only allowing 5.5 yards per pass attempt. I think they have the team speed at linebacker, which Oregon did not have, in Anthony Hill.
And safety, I wouldn't forget. Like their safeties are sick.
Sorry, I'm pinballing around here.
Jelani McDonald, young dude.
So sorry. Now sticking to the conversation we're having, Georgia in the trenches was ungodly, especially on the defensive line. Talk about like Jordan. Jalen Carter was rotated in as the third interior defensive lineman. Yeah, it was like Jordan Davis and Devontae Wyatt, and Jalen Carter was getting rotated in. Nakobe Dean was awesome at linebacker. That team on defense, if you played,
it was a great secondary. I don't feel like
it didn't matter though, like because that front seven was just smoking them. If they played on a football field, the question would, can LSU block up Georgia? And if they could, even to an extent, like I think LSU wins that football game. 2013 Florida State had a loaded roster. I was actually watching that game back a couple of days ago. Not the whole game, just like some highlights. 2018.
Talk about great college quarterbacks, Jameis. He was up there.
2019 Ohio State.
I feel like 2015 Ohio State, if you look at, was probably the most talented team ever. I know they didn't win the title, but like that's a crazy team if you look at who was on it. I mean, honestly, the Cam Newton Auburn teams, I know it wasn't loaded, but
hey, how about Michigan 2023?
It's got to be in the conversation.
The defense for sure.
You talk about Georgia being a loaded D-line.
Yeah.
Mason Graham is arguably like it'd be him versus Jalen Carter. I think Jalen Carter was a monster, but Mason Graham's right up there with him.
And you had Kenny Grant and Chris Jenkins, and then on the edge, there's 4 guys, just rotating them in.
Now,
I know it's coming from two Michigan fans, little biased, but
then you look at the secondary; it's night and day better than that Georgia team, like with Will and Rod, and Makari, and Sandra still obviously.
say you're not naming the best one. Kicking back to this deal. I don't know if you can see this. Their teams aren't going 12-0. Like that is not a bad point in the terms of like in this era of college football with the transfer portal, it's a lot harder for teams to dominate because what made Georgia so good is like or Bama back in the day, like their twos stayed at Alabama. Now if you're a really good football player that can't get on the football field, you're going to Kentucky. You're going to Ole Miss, wherever you're going, and that talent dispersion a little bit. You won't see as many teams. I don't know how many more undefeated teams are we going to see? Because even like take a sneak peek to next year. Like, is there a team that is far and away like, yeah, they're running the table and winning it all? I don't.
Now, not for nothing. I think I would have been fighting for Notre Dame to be in a 4-team. It would have been tight.
But then at the expense of who?
Well, it would have been a battle between.
I think 4 is a little too little.
Honestly, like Texas would have been. Yeah, that's tight with Notre Dame. I don't think that's an easy. I'd say Texas.
I don't know. You look at in some years, 4 teams was enough. Like in some years, it was.
This year, maybe, but
no, I don't think this year at all.
No, this year, this year you're right. This year you're right. 4 teams probably what you would have felt like you're basically leaving out.
I think you need at least 8 in this era of college football. 12 might be a little much, but 8. Because look at the final what we're watching right now.
Yeah, but I still think you want to like reward in Oregon for running the gauntlet and just winning out.
Okay, they got. You could argue the playoff seedings is a different.
No, but like I just think making a team that won 12, like went 14-0, and then have to win that many more games. I still think like there should be more of a reward, like, and then you have to win 2 games or maybe 3 games.
Yeah, or AK not have to play Ohio State in the first game of the playoffs. Yeah, that could be a discussion. There's no doubt about that.
Because I don't know, like, does Ohio State, like, would I look at them like I look at a Georgia?
I don't know why you're so hung up on that. That to me is like, okay, you won't. Like, you're not going to, right? Because like Michigan went undefeated and then won a national championship. Georgia went undefeated, won a national, but like that shouldn't matter in terms of the teams getting in. Well, I don't know why you're getting hung up on that.
Because I think, like, to win a national championship, the regular season, like, you needed to always be so good. You have just a lot of room for error now. I think too much room for error.
With 12 teams?
Well, 12 for sure. Like, you're telling me SMU just, and again, I'm not saying someone deserved to be in over them, but like SMU, if they won a national championship, I'd be like, well, that's like pretend. I wouldn't look at that.
But like, okay, so if SMU beats Penn State in Happy Valley, and they beat Boise State, but then they beat Notre Dame here, and then they beat Ohio State, I'm golf clapping SMU. Like, attaboy. They deserve a national championship.
That's not how I would feel. I would think you can't lose every good team you play. And then
they clearly don't, because they just beat a bunch of good teams in the playoffs.
The regular season still needs to matter.
SMU was a weird one because they just didn't really play any good teams.
It's tough. It is tough. I see you doing your mental gymnastics.
There's that LaShawn Williams from Iowa just getting a Powerade sponsorship, by the way.
For real?
That's nuts.
There's a lot of guys.
Patrick Payton. It's going too fast. I'm pretty sure I just saw LaShawn Williams. I'm almost positive of it. Good for him out there in Iowa City. It's cool. What are you laughing about? That's sweet.
I mean, they didn't have any of the real big dogs of college football.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. Patrick Payton is a big dog. Now he's with Garrett Nussmeyer and LSU.
Something like that. I like Patrick Payton, but
I'm kidding. He's definitely not a big dog.
I gotta run to the bathroom. I'll be back. I gotta get back for the half though.
Is Riley coming back? I would hope he's coming back. I think it's a concussion thing, so it's obviously not something you can just play through. So we'll see what the doctors say. I thought Angeli looked pretty dang good though in that 2-minute drive. Obviously taking some sacks, and I'm not even going to put that on him. Like we know Notre Dame can't hold up in pass protection consistently, so we'll see. That's going to be a big storyline to watch. It does sound like Notre Dame has some decent confidence in their backup quarterbacks. You know, all offseason, Mark Stroom's like, hey, we're not going after a portal quarterback. So there's probably some confidence here. Yeah, he's awesome. yeah, and he's such a weapon. He was such a weapon for them, too, because they punted so much. Yeah. Now I could think of some returners, too. For a team like them, it's huge to have a good punter. He was on the right team, that's for sure. Speaking of the Iowa Hawkeyes, I like that South Dakota State kid they added. I don't know if Iowa is going to be like a playoff team or anything, but it's a massive upgrade from the quarterback play that they were getting the last couple of years. They got him and Hank Brown. Coach Ferentz getting active in the portal. I like it. But Iowa hasn't had, I mean, you look at the quarterback play, Cade McNamara just not it, and they're just bouncing around. I hear Dell coming back. He'll be fired up to talk about some Iowa football. Yeah, legit. Yeah, no, like 100%. It was so meaningful, especially for that team. Like he was winning them football games. We're talking about Tory Taylor, that Iowa punter. But we were also a side note talking about the quarterback play in Iowa State.
Yeah, they might have a guy.
The thing is, like, even if they have a guy, like, are they going to use him in a productive way?
No, because they don't have great wideouts and skill. But
they did land that kid from Chattanooga. They had a couple of big pickups.
Is that your guy you're looking to?
Let me pull up their transfer portal haul. I mean, you kind of have to.
I don't know. I don't know that Iowa's ever going to win at a super high level with Kirk at this point.
Okay, I take that back. Not as many transfer portal additions as
Not that I think that's a team that's ever going to win at a crazy high level, period. But
well, in the new Big Ten, it's tough.
Yeah, that's true. They used to always have the free pass to Indy.
Who do you think won the transfer portal this
year? Probably.
You just list a couple teams. Didn't mean to put you on the spot.
LSU, I think, has done a really good job.
Yes. LSU is probably number one for me, too. Because they got players at positions they needed to address. Like last year, you knew they were going to be solid, but they had some glaring, like, we got to figure it out. And they just didn't address them. Now I feel like they have, and that's big.
You know who's not had a huge haul, but I think has kind of done their thing is Notre Dame. I mean, adding those two wideouts, I think really good players.
Yeah, Will Pauling we're just watching Notre Dame just not be able to get open.
Malachi Fields, like I think those two, like
that kid's sick, by the way. Malachi Fields from Virginia. Notre Dame would not be the first team that comes.
No, but like I don't look at I'm trying to I don't look at teams that just brought in 7 million kids as like.
But like that's not what I'm saying. Like for LSU, it's like they brought in a lot of players, but it was not just like there's been times where it's like Ole Miss just brings in players seemingly to bring in players.
That they're doing that again this year. Like they're in and out. They're filtering a lot of guys out of the program.
The thing is, like, you can keep saying, "Oh, Lane Kiffin's not doing it right," and they're gonna. I mean, they had a national championship caliber roster. I don't think you can argue that.
Yeah, but they didn't have they lost 3 games. Like I don't know. That's not like a great.
Yeah, but you can't argue with the roster building strategy because they're like at the very least.
But you can argue then with like is that a sustainable culture and ability to do it?
I guess we'll see. I mean, it's like Ole Miss is consistent.
But I also, again, I think Ole Miss is like doing a better job at the high school ranks. Like they're getting a couple of guys that like are coming up through their system, if you will. Not a ton, and I'd probably like to see them still do better, but
I think you're letting the Florida State debacle this year sewer.
Maybe
maybe because what happened with Florida State was like they major burns. LSU secondary this year was just
so bad.
Yeah, they were so slow. It's such a slow unit. And the way Blake Baker wants to run it, like he wants to play some man coverage and bring some pressure. And if you have a bunch of bad athletes at the back end, you ain't going to be good.
No, they need better players, and I think they're getting it. Like I like some of those young players on that team.
They also got DJ Pickett coming in.
Who else I think had a pretty good portal run was like a South Carolina. Like it's like a little quiet, but they got the positions I think they needed to. They added some young.
Yeah, my concern with South Carolina just right off the bat, the defensive line.
Well, they added
a lot of snaps,
right? They add two. They add Brownlow Dindy, and
that's all so far.
They add the kid from
Missouri, but he's an edge guy. We need some big bodies.
Then they get the JUCO guy. I don't know. That's not really transfer portal, obviously, but
yeah, that's a good point. That essentially is he could be ready. They got 2 guys on campus this week that I got to look into. Kid from Texas State's apparently pretty good.
D tackle?
I'm blanking on the name.
I just want to know the position.
But at least they're the interior defensive line cats.
Michigan national championship roster.
I love this conversation. Glad we had this at halftime.
How good is he?
I just broke down the projected depth chart. Yes, it starts with Bryce. Like, if Michigan has a national championship roster, it's with Bryce starting at quarterback and being a dude year 1. And if they return Derek Moore, TJ Guy,
and Benny,
and Rod Moore, the defense is going to be for Michigan, I think, damn good next year. Look what they did against Ohio State, then look what they did against Alabama. To me, it's like clicking under Wink Martindale. The offense is my question mark. And the one disappointing thing is, look, I think the offensive line is going to be solid. I think that offensive line turned the corner in 2024. They got a couple guys got their feet wet, played better. Are the wide receivers good enough? Like we're watching Penn State, Notre Dame obviously struggle with their difference makers on the perimeter. That's probably my biggest concern with.
Now again, I think you love the tight end room coming back. I think Hogan Hansen looks like he's going to be a star.
Yeah, agreed.
I look at a guy like Marlon Klein. That's just a really good college football tight end. Freddie Moore, I'm fascinated by because Freddie Moore.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think he's gotten shots because they've been so inept at quarterback last year. He's a guy like I look at if he plays well, even like an Andrew Marsh, can they get something early from him? I look like that. You're right. That's going to be the question, but I don't think I feel like Michigan could land some of these wideouts if they really needed to, or felt like they really needed to. And I feel like they need to. No, I feel like they need to, but Michigan's kind of getting not who they want, but like when they want to go get a guy like Justice Haynes, they go.
Yeah, but the thing is, we're getting the guys we want at every position outside of wide receiver. Like and I know like some credits didn't work out with like Skylar Bell and Troy Stellato, and like you couldn't get him
But
in.
they're not even like going for the hammers. Like they're not,
which is weird. Like that.
Yeah.
That to me is I don't know if I want to say it's like frustrating, but it's like what that was clearly one of the positions that needed to be addressed the most, and it doesn't seem like there's a ton of urgency from Michigan. And maybe it's the thing where it's like, hey, we have competent quarterback play with Mikey Keene and Bryce Underwood. Let's see what spring practice looks like. Let's see what Freddie Moore, Samaj Morgan, Andrew Marsh, Kendrick Bellett. So let's see what these guys look like with Chip Lindsey at offensive coordinator, with Bryce Underwood and Mikey Keene, and then in the spring portal window. Because the wide receiver position, you can kind of plug and play that thing.
And that's my wishful thinking for sure. Is like, ooh, maybe we have a little more than everyone thinks. Now, I don't necessarily think that. I don't know. But you're right. It's impossible to evaluate the wide receiver play because when your quarterbacks are playing the way Michigan's quarterbacks are playing, there's just going headphones off.
No, I just had to readjust those slide down on my hat. Might need another cup of coffee though.
Yeah, I see your energy levels.
No, I was just a yawn. I'm
very mid. But I do need this game back. Halftimes are so long, I think.
When do we find out officially for guys like D Moore?
I thought it was today, but I don't know. I'm honestly so lost on that because it feels like guys are just trickling in there. Like all the Oregon guys put their draft notices in like today and yesterday, right?
Yeah. I mean, I know, and that's a conversation worth having. Is I do know that, or at least from what I've seen, is that Michigan's putting a lot of effort, and this is maybe why you haven't seen some of those big splash wide receivers. Is because I know Michigan's putting a lot of effort in making sure we got guys like Derek Moore.
I mean,
this is. I mean, we're talking about the real argument for a 12-team playoff. If they ain't right. Mid-January. We're watching football in the mid-January. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Tyler Morris was a guy I didn't want to lose. That Michigan didn't lose a ton of guys that I didn't want, like that were like that stung. Tyler Morris was a guy that
Tyler Morris dropped a lot of footballs this year, I thought, in like big moments too.
Agreed. But
no, I don't think enough ball for this team. It stung to lose him. It stung to lose him for sure, but I didn't think it was a great year for him.
Who are the wide receivers Michigan's going after? Like we went after Skylar Bell.
The UMass guy.
I gotta look at that kick. I didn't see that yet. I gotta watch him a little bit. I don't know who that is. Troy Stellato from Clemson, who I actually didn't hate.
But even those, they're all backup. They're all kind of like backups on good teams.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It just didn't seem like Michigan was going after like a ton of big names. All right, enough Michigan talk. I love it. It looks like Riley Leonard's heading back out, which is good.
Yeah, it would stink because then you get the whole, you didn't beat us at our best.
Oh, yeah, you just want to see
the where did number 2 come from? Do you know?
The kick returner?
Yeah.
I believe Marshall. He's like a kick return specialist. Took one of the house against Georgia.
Well, I know.
Good get.
I was just trying to think. I was like, it was like FIU. That was Chris Mitchell, right?
Yes, Chris Mitchell came from FAU. He's not played as much as I would have thought.
I didn't. Is that Charles Jagasaw?
Wow. Good pull. It is.
What the hell is he doing out there?
Back from the pay. He's playing guard.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Would he
did we miss him against Georgia? That'd be wild if we did.
I'm going to check PFF real quick.
Yeah, check it out. Dude, the pre-snap penalties are smoking Notre Dame. Like that was like the one thing is like, look, I know you're not going to run for 200 yards on this Penn State team. Like I know that. But you got to run the ball and be effective enough to stay out of these behind the chains downs, and they're just not doing that.
He did not play against Georgia, by the way.
So this is interesting. I wonder.
I think it's just their depth. I mean, Spindler went down, and obviously Knapp went down.
That was a torn pec in fall camp.
I didn't think you could recover from the pack that quick. It's a good job by him, by the way, moving some bodies.
Yeah, it was good.
Also, I think that number 9, Raridan, is going to be a really good player for Notre Dame.
How old is he?
God, he's youngish. He's a true junior, so not super young, but... Jay, you taking notes, by the way, on this offense? Maybe you should listen to me more.
Yeah, it's just some gap.
I know what I'm talking about.
Sign Dill up. Let Dill go run an offense. Take us back to the 1990s.
Yep.
By the way, I'm reading that Blood, Sweat, and Chalk book. Learning a lot. I would recommend it. Learn a lot about the game. No, I don't. I think that's a great. I'm loving these questions. We got so much to talk about in the commercial breaks. Do I think Notre Dame will end up winning? No, I think Penn State wins this football game. I'm kind of hoping took them. Although this is an encouraging.
You get this drive, you cap it off with a touchdown.
You're like right back in it, and that what happens there, Dill, is like, look, Penn State probably should be winning this game by a little bit more.
Yep.
And then it's like you look up, you feel like you dominated the first half, and you look up 5 minutes into the third quarter, and you're like, we're tied.
And Drew's already kind of pressing. It feels like he's not playing good.
Drew's not playing good. He's not.
I don't even know if pressing's the right word. He's just playing poorly.
Yeah. And that the half came at a good time because it felt like in that second quarter, Penn State was starting to just road grade a little bit.
It's a really good ball, dude.
It's a great ball.
It's a good route too.
They had Aeneas Williams man coverage with that backer Kobe King.
Yeah,
Kobe
but
King,
that's
right?
not even a horrible matchup. Like that's just a great route. It's a good ball. It's like it's just good. It's good ball. Notre Dame.
There you go, Mike. Mike Denbrock coming out of half.
Yeah, he came out storming. Aeneas Williams came out storming too.
Wow, I was so confident saying Notre Dame's going to win this game. Shut my name out.
One time, would you just shut up and let me try to have some.
State defense seems super frustrated. Got to cap it off with touchdowns.
Oh yeah,
gotta.
Wait, where are they giving him the spot? Oh, they blew it that early. I thought they should let him.
No, drop. He was going backwards pretty good. Same rugby. This is where you love having Riley Leonard. Get an extra hat in the run game.
Not a James Franklin fan.
I mean, big game James Franklin. Come on.
He's not been the best, that's for sure. And Marcus Freeman feels like he's trending the opposite direction.
Okay, Marcus Freeman like inspires some confidence with me.
Yeah, like he feels like a guy I'd be very like, oh, he just gave me a nice pump up speech. Now I'm ready to go win a game.
Yeah, I'd run through a brick wall. If he needs a 5'8", $160, special teams ace, sign the kid up. $160 is probably boosting it too.
Get me back from my glory days, a high school offensive guard.
For me, it's flag football. But I was kind of nice in flag football though.
What, in gym class?
My dad's in the chat. He can tell y'all. No, that pump and go. That was kind of nice.
That's a big.
It's big. It's big for Notre Dame. I don't love it. I don't love it for my Penn State bet. You took Notre Dame?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I did not. I gotta see what number. I took Penn State to cover.
All right, who replaces Restrepo for the U? Great question. You can't, man. I love the and Xavier Restrepo. What he did for Miami was so big the last couple of years. My first answer would be Ray Joseph. Now, Ray Joseph might be a more juiced up athlete, like mover, than Xavier Restrepo. My concern is like Xavier Restrepo's feel for playing wide receiver was elite. Like he knew how to separate, knew how to sit it down in zone coverage, was always open, caught everything went his way. Ray Joseph is a really, really explosive, dynamic player. Does he have the intangibles that Xavier showed? What you're hoping is, hey, 2 years behind X, and now like you kind of ready to rock and roll. I don't think the wide receiver position. I feel pretty good. Like you bring.
They've recruited that well.
JoJo Trader, Nikar. I know who it might be. This is kind of spot Malachi Tony, the true freshman. Again, I mean, we're talking about a true freshman replacing a
wideouts, true freshman wideouts. Like I'm in on that.
Yeah, but again, like the true freshman wideouts who are dominating are just freak shows. You know what I mean? Like to replace a guy like Xavier Restrepo, it's a little bit more what's between the ears, in my opinion. That's kind of what.
You're right. This is a unique group of freshman wideouts, like Ryan Williams.
Yeah, they're freaky. Yeah,
Jeremiah Smith, Cam Coleman. Like you could have probably told in high school, like, "Ooh, this is a next level."
Jeremiah Smith, watching him down in South, he was like,
But you probably again like Cam Coleman. I feel like you.
I didn't. So I thought when I stacked it was like Jeremiah Smith, Cam Coleman, Ryan Williams, and I still might stand by that. Like I think Cam Coleman with some better quarterback play could really be a good football player. But I was concerned about Ryan Williams and like the size because he was a reclass kid, so he's like only 17 years old and with the slight frame. I was like, I don't know if it's going to happen year one. I was big time wrong about that.
He's a monster too.
Yeah,
it was a really good crew of young wideouts.
Yeah. No, who I think people are kind of sleeping on is Micah Hudson, who also I thought was an awesome wide receiver. Might have been a
puzzling one to me.
And just didn't get on the football field for Texas Tech. Now he's going to Texas A&M.
I don't get it.
Texas A&M sneaky. I think did some good work in the portal. A little concerned about the interior defensive line, but I think they revamped the pass catchers and they needed to.
Yeah.
They're so bad. I mean, outside of well, I don't know. I'm high on Texas A&M next year, I think. I think Marcel Reed will take a step in the right direction. I'm just worried about replacing a lot of NFL guys on the defensive line.
They really do have to replace a lot.
Who's the best transfer portal class? I think you got to say LSU does. Texas Tech did a very good job. I mean, they brought in a lot of players and a lot of really good players.
Yeah.
I think LSU probably improved their roster the most because they brought in really good players at positions they needed to bring them in.
And like the problem with Texas Tech is like they're very much the Louisville model to an extent, more so.
Yeah. So if Texas Tech wins a lot of football, like you're just obsessed with that. Like if
I am. You're right.
So like if Texas Tech wins 10 games next year in the Big 12, like what do you?
Nope, that's something I'm.
How long is it gonna need to play out until you maybe say?
Jay, these teams you're trying to make the poster children are not in the playoffs. They're not playing right now. It's not.
Yeah, but it's Louisville and Texas Tech. Like they weren't in the playoffs regardless. And Ole Miss was like a career, like
That
a
could
6-6
be-
SEC
oh,
team.
that could be fair. I got a lock. We got a lock back in here. You're distracting me.
Well, we'll continue this discussion. I'm gonna think about my transfer portal class. All right, Drew, 5 of 13 for 53 yards is a very bad stat line.
He's playing.
I think you got to figure out a way to settle this kid in.
Yeah, I know,
Or
because
just keep running the football.
Yeah, but I don't. Notre Dame's too good.
Well, if you can, again, it felt so big that you got the halftime there because it was like they just strung together 2 14-plus play drives. I think we're really getting to like the depth. A lot of hands on hips for Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of got bailed out by the halftime, and then a long drive coming out of it. See if they can get back into that mode. Luke Reynolds sighting. He's
been playing a decent amount.
Yeah. It's so weird. I feel like that like bowl, like the December window practice for these teams, like then you see freshmen like play much more.
Yeah.
All right, there's a nice easy throw that Tyler. It's a big 3 yards. The back pedal there. 3rd and 3.
Hell. I will say though that number 16 is a good tight end too.
Yeah, they recruit the tight end position well.
Yeah, that's facts.
Run the football here. They go to that like sweep play again.
Yeah, it's just big time play by.
You got a punt, right?
You got a punt here.
Wow.
It's really
it
good.
It feels like the tides are turning a little bit.
Yep, that's a Marcus Freeman guy. Marcus Freeman, I would take him as my coach.
No, I like Sherman.
No, like I wouldn't like trade Sherman more for anyone, obviously, because he did win us an Natty. I think so, at least. It was a big part of it.
It was a huge part of it.
But Marcus,
I'm a believer in Sherman more. I really am.
Marcus Freeman's sick though.
And he was a guy that had some growing pains as a young head coach.
He was a guy I was like kind of like, who is he gonna be like on a hot seat soon?
Yeah.
Like, terrible games like to like a Marshall and then
the
NIU one. Yeah. You're like, oh, is he doing it again?
But the thing with him is like, you had to have known there were going to be some growing pains with him. He's a really young guy that was taking over a really premier program with a lot of eyeballs on you. There's some growing pains. I think Sharon Moore, like there might be some for Sharon Moore too. And I think there certainly were the first year.
Although I feel like a lot of that was just
I agree.
On the offensive coordinator staff. And again, he got put in a terrible spot in terms of this year. Like he got put in a great spot by Harbaugh in terms of like what Harbaugh built for him for sure. But this year was always me a problem.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have the winter portal to do work.
Well, and you just lost like a lot of those guys that probably should have went to the NFL draft after the 2022 season. They came back. And so then you're just losing you lost your whole offensive line. You lost a top 10 NFL draft pick at quarterback. You lost Blake Corum at running back. Lost a ton of guys on the defense.
You lost like as much as people think Michigan had like sorry wideout play in 23. Like both of them were pros. Both of them got drafted.
And AJ Barner. I loved AJ Barner.
AJ Barner's playing unreal too in the pros.
Is he?
I just keep seeing Michigan players like tweeting and Instagram storying him, so I presume he's playing okay.
For him, deserves it.
Also, I think Wink. I'm very excited for year 2 with Wink. That's like he seemed like he kind of like settled in the players.
Yeah, and this is. Oh, sorry. Was that what you were replying to that? My fault. I totally agree. I think early on for Michigan, like there were some like growing pains with the defense. A lot of different blitz packages, a lot of different coverage packages, and you can tell like some of the zone coverage was a little bit sloppy. It was nails against Alabama. It was nails against Ohio State. Like the I feel like that defense started to click with Wink Martindale. And at the end of the day, like I know Mike McDonald, Jesse Minter, Wink, all kind of similar defensive scheme coaching tree. Like it's still a new coordinator who's doing things differently. I think it started to click, and I think it's going to be really fun to watch next year. Now we just get this offense going. All right, it's a big drive, Dale.
It's a big drive, a huge drive. Notre Dame can really wrest this game away from James Franklin. Damn, no J Love. Dude, Jordan Faison's a good player.
Fits what they want to do really well.
Wow, they're really picking up the pace, giving Penn State a dose of their own medicine. Oh, they're confused.
Keep getting Faison involved.
You gotta. He's balling.
Probably your best man coverage beater too.
Yeah, at this point, I would agree. And for where Riley Leonard's going to throw the ball, which is
like neither of these teams are really.
Abdul Carter's so fast. Like to just run today.
Now they're not going to play, Dale. This is the story of the game, and I mean, I like Notre Dame staying in it, but they're getting in a lot of these third and longs, and this is just bad news bears for them.
Yeah, they are. I'm almost surprised they're not going back to the air a little bit. It seemed like they kind of had something.
Like well, they ran it all the way down the throats last. I mean, I don't. Well, they had that one explosive. Yeah.
I mean, they had a good mix, I'd say.
Yeah. Penn State needs to put a drive now. Chip Lindsey, yeah, savior. I'm coming around to the high. Michigan could have gone a lot of ways. I like Chip Lindsey. I like what he's done with quarterbacks. And at the end of the day, you're right. Just like a little bit of creativity. It was so bland. And I know the play calling for Michigan was limited, but holy smokes.
And also just a guy who's been doing it. Yeah. Like Kurt Campbell just never was really doing it.
I mean, Kurt Campbell got, I believe, fired at Old Dominion. And he kind of just like walked into the job. And I was saying he didn't deserve it, but wow. No fair catch is ballsy.
Just had some interesting decisions from the
punter. Yeah, the punter returner. Yeah.
Nobody's fair catching, and they're catching the ball. And when he did, he fair caught it at like the 2.
Fitted him up. All right, Penn State's got to get back to those couple drives they had in the second quarter.
Yeah, because they probably only need like one of those to
really put the stat line's looking like this in this game. Not what I wanted to click. I mean, Notre Dame's outgained Penn State. I'm kind of surprised to see that.
I'm really surprised to hear that.
Well, Penn State's only thrown for 59 yards. 2 of 8 and third downs. They went for it in fourth down a couple of times, got it. This is kind of how you saw this game going, like 10-10, mid-third quarter. What team can find a little bit of explosiveness on offense? You knew it wasn't going to be consistent.
Yeah.
Who would you take right now if you had to place a little wager?
Probably take Penn State, I think.
Yeah, I think I favor Penn State in the second half.
But I mean, honestly, that 50-50 is kind of right because I don't have great read, I feel like. The game prediction tracker has been fun to follow. It's swung a lot on like seemingly insignificant things, I feel like. But that's true because it's. I mean,
this is coming down to a last couple of plays.
And even like just the fact that neither team's like moving the ball back right, like a big play matters like a lot.
Yeah. Appreciate that. Appreciate all you guys tuning in. We're just starting with these live streams. We figured on Saturdays it's hard to do because you're trying to watch so many different games for these playoff games. We'll probably start doing some watch parties, probably with Michigan.
Gotta start. When Bryce first takes the field, I'll have takes on it.
Yeah.
That's honestly like that'll be like the most exciting day of my whole life.
I mean, I still remember that Thursday night. I think we were working on an episode when it happened.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Joe Milton.
No, I'm talking about the Thursday night. Bryce Underwood committed, and Adam Schefter broke the news. It was electric.
There was a lot of hope though for Joe Milton and Michigan fans. Didn't work out, but
what Thursday night am I thinking about? Just kidding. There we go, T. Warren.
Weren't we like when we played Minnesota in the COVID year?
Is that a Thursday?
I don't. It felt like it wasn't a Saturday though.
Well, Blake Moore caught that swing pass the first play of the game as a true freshman.
Yeah, and we thought we were back. It's the worst year in the program's history somehow.
All right, this is what we needed. You got Drew an easy throw here. Now you're starting to run the football a little bit. You go to play action. Go create Drew out.
And you get chaos in a sack. That Tyler Warren play though, Penn State needs they got to be able to get to that. They just get them open. But it's tough because Notre Dame's disciplined as.
No, it's a very talented defense, but I think there's more talented defenses. But the discipline and the coach, it's just nothing comes easy. You gotta be really good if you want to beat them. And Drew just hasn't been that good today so far.
William Wassad just can he rush on the edge like that? Is he like?
I always thought.
I mean, he just kind of ran through that left tackle, like put him right in.
He is gonna be really, really good. Hey, Al Golden heading right to the bench. Give me the iPad. Let me start chefing a little bit more.
That's a good. Drew Shelton's a good left tackle. Al Golden's kind of gotten into his bag.
That's going to be Jayshon Barham next year. Sorry, I keep bringing this right back to Michigan, but
yeah, you really are just forcing Michigan down everything's throat.
It's going to be Jayshon Barham.
Al Golden.
You gotta silence that.
I've been
suddenly become like the most popular guy ever.
No, I honestly been trying to figure out how to put it on vibrate or take the vibrate off.
I'm just playing,
but I don't totally know how. Whatever. I know how. I'll do it like you do it and put it on the focus mode.
Yeah, you get dialed.
I'm not a focus guy though. I like the Pings.
Well, it's especially in like the transfer portal.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what if
Kentucky's D line be as good as next year?
I need to know.
Let me think here. You're bringing that Washington State kid. The thing with me, I feel like Kentucky's defensive line was better in the 2023 season than the 2024. Although I will be the first one to admit Kentucky was not on my screen that often on Saturdays. Let's take a look at Kentucky's. That's probably a team that
because they'll have some fun recruits like the Smith boys and the Robinson kid. Like they kind of have some recruits.
The question is, are you a Zach Calzada believer?
I'm not a Kentucky believer. I think Mark Stoops is on his way out there, frankly, because it feels like he kind of hit his peak and now he's falling back. But
I would say no if that was just my quick twitch answer.
Because do you think Gusta can play with the big guy?
I think Deion Walker and Keyshawn Silver. No, probably not.
Deion Walker, I don't think he played his best in 24, but man, in 23 he was a monster.
Yeah, I just didn't. I mean, like Kentucky was just not a team that got me fired up. I guess I'll say
their offense was gross.
Yeah, so bad. They did make some good additions on the offensive line. Now it's Zach Calzada, who just lit it up at the FCS ranks, come back to the SEC and dominate. We'll see.
It's a good point. Do you think this is the weakest field, college football playoff field? I kind of think probably.
Yeah, and I think it's the conversation of the parity that we're seeing in the sport.
Yeah, there's just
kind of what we talked about earlier. Like there is just like it's hard for teams to really have dominant rosters when, a really good player at linebacker would be in your two deeps now going to start at another school. Probably. Although I will say this version of Ohio State right now is really dang good. We'll see if they play that way the rest of the offs. I'd say that the quarterback play is, and the quarterback play, quite frankly, all year just wasn't like that great.
It's just bad in college football this year.
Right now, yeah. But like you look at the quarterbacks here, I mean, Riley Leonard solid, Drew solid. Sorry, I got to readjust my hat again. Quinn and Will.
And last year was so good. It's just not that good this year.
They're doing the slow sub. Yeah. Do you think they need to fix this subs? I feel like that was really.
No, I think the offenses need to tighten up. I mean, there's an answer to not being slow subbed. It's being more crisp with your offensive subs. Like, I know South Carolina wanted to complain about it, but they were running guys on very late.
I think there's a little bit of a gaming.
There's 100% gaming.
Did you see what just happened there, though? It's like that guy dragged his butt, and then, like, the other guy who came off late dragged his butt.
Notre Dame subbed late. I mean, that's like... I agree with that, by the way. Penix far better than any quarterback in this draft. It's not even close.
I mean, Caleb, Drake, Penix, JJ, Jaden Daniels, and maybe Bo Nix. Like, I'd probably take them all over.
Bo Nix is playing good ball, too, in the league.
Yeah, I think I'm taking them all over what we've seen, just in general. I mean, like, especially in the playoffs.
I don't disagree with that.
That's also probably why, because you look at some of the best quarterbacks we saw, Cam Ward, Shedeur said. I mean, Cam Ward was playing opposite a defense that couldn't stop a nosebleed, and
lighten him up.
Colorado wasn't good enough around him either.
I mean, there's an element of that. The quarterback, like the good teams, didn't have great quarterback play. Probably, you could argue.
Yeah, and then Carson Beck at Georgia.
Disappointing year. I don't know what else to say about that.
I don't think it was as much on Carson Beck. Those wide receivers stunk.
Yeah, they dropped a lot of passes for him.
Gritty, man. Gritty Riley Leonard.
Very. Oh, what do you think about that? Too slow on the sub?
No, I think that was fine. You can't argue that some teams really abuse it.
I don't think this. I'm not as concerned about the subbing. I'm much more concerned about fake injuries. I think that's a much.
That's a huge, 100%.
Because that is
negative play
to the nth degree.
These are drive killers. You take Marcus Freeman head and shoulders, second half, like coaching, who you want coaching your team?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Sure. James Franklin feels like he panics sometimes. I don't know if that's fair, but
does Penn State call for his head if they lose this football game?
No. That'd be I think that'd be
I'm not
crazy.
saying would you. I'm saying would Penn State fans.
I think you'd be really disappointed, especially the way it's kind of going.
Just stack the box when Leonard's out there. Yeah. The problem with the James Franklin is I don't know who you're getting that's better.
It's a sick catch by Greathouse. You need your wide receivers if you're
good ball by Leonard too.
For sure.
I mean, but I'm with you. Like that, like this is right. Like stack the box with Leonard out there, make him make those throws. If he makes those throws and Jaden Greathouse makes those plays, it's
do it. But
I'm surprised Jaden Greathouse has been as quiet as he has this year.
I just don't think he fits Leonard's game. I mean, he's a little bit more of a perimeter guy. I feel like
this is what I mean with like Riley Leonard though. That kind of play, broken play, go get 5, get 2nd and 5.
I will say he's playing a lot better than Drew right now. That's objectively true.
That's Drew's a huge throw into some face.
Yeah, that's like big time.
Think any players transfer from either of these schools after the year that would be big names?
Not huge because these two teams don't lose big names.
You think what do the running backs do for Notre Dame? Or running backs for Penn State?
Because realistically, they got 3 guys who would start on a good chunk of Power 5 teams or Power 4, I should say. I'm sure like there's going to be a little bit of attrition in like the wideout room, for example, for both.
I'm fired up for appreciate you rocking with it. A fellow Dante Moore believer. I love to see it. I very, very high on Dante Moore. We're going to be talking a lot about it this offseason. Someone already asked who you guys think will match up better with Ohio State. I'll kick that one to you, Dill. Who do you think matches up between Penn State and Notre Dame?
Probably Penn State.
I think so too, because
there's a little bit more offensive firepower.
I think more on the D. I think Penn State has that team speed that
and the defensive line defensive line that can get like really, really disruptive at times.
Yeah. I would say Penn State too, because I mean, like we talked about what went wrong for Oregon against Ohio State. It felt like, Oregon at safety and Oregon at linebacker just were, for lack of better terms, a touch slow. And it seemed like Ohio State, when they had their wide receivers working vertically down the field, Tasheem Johnson, Kobe Savage, just not quite the athletes. And then when they were getting to the perimeter in the run game, it felt like the linebackers couldn't cover the ground. For Oregon fans, though, what I'm excited about is like we knew Kobe Savage and Tasheem Johnson were, Tasheem Johnson's a nickel that had to play safety because they were in a pinch. And Kobe Savage, I think, is solid, but I don't think he's a difference maker. Peyton Woodyard, Kingston Lopa, Dylan Tiemann coming in the portal. Like, I think those guys are difference makers in the back end. So I think Oregon probably can take a step there. And I think Dante Moore can – that's a conversation that we're going to be having a lot. Like, I think the ceiling for Dante Moore is so much higher. Like, there are throws that Dante Moore can make that you just couldn't ask DG to make. Now, DG gives you a little bit more solid, right? More consistent, solid, doesn't turn the football over, accurate. But I think Dante Moore can be that guy too after a year of development. But I think he can just make some throws pushing it down the field that
I can't wait for Dante Moore. And
yeah.
I mean, I think Evan Stewart coming back was huge. Like underrated huge, because you needed that wideout one, that guy. Like, I think, again, there's some interesting young players on that team.
Some verticality for that Oregon offense this year, because we didn't have it that much. Dillon Gabriel's much more of a short, intermediate guy. DeCorian Moore and Evan Stewart.
What is DeCorian Moore going to play at Oregon?
I think he plays more of the boundary.
Yeah, okay.
With the Z, if I were to guess.
Gotcha.
But the thing with DeCorian Moore is that why I think he's a special cat is there's so many different ways he can get involved, you know? He's a guy that can work the slot, can work yards after the catch, but also is 10-4 in the 100 and can cook down the field. 10-5, something like that. Ooh, a little end around.
It's a really nice
run. Lose Jaden Thomas.
It's a really nice run by him. There wasn't a ton of space, I wouldn't say.
I think this is a good point. A little disappointed with Stewart. I thought he'd have a bigger impact. And I think we knew Tez Johnson was going to be that wide receiver one, but I thought Evan Stewart was going to get more involved, and I think he will be more involved with Dante Moore. Because I think Dante Moore is a wide receiver. Wide receiver like Evan Stewart's going to benefit from a guy like Dante Moore at quarterback, in my opinion.
They're starting to get some matchups on man to man and
actually working, yeah.
Yeah.
That's twice with Kobe King and man coverage on a running back and tight end.
Yep. It's my guy, Reardon.
Big drive here. If you're Penn State, you got to hold them to 3.
Mm-hmm. Notre Dame, man. Marcus Freeman. That guy got this team coming out storming out the gates.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot all the boys. We got a bunch of Notre Dame and Penn State fans.
That's why my phone's been vibrating.
Oh, yeah. See, I got the group chat on mute. I got to read through all those messages.
No, I need to know.
Seven rushes, 2 passes, 70 yards, 5. Notre Dame.
Don't talk to me about Jeremiah Love not being one of the better players in the game. That's such a good run.
Yo, that's great.
Like, and that's not even like his game necessarily.
Yeah, that's a good run.
Ball player.
Good run. That was you take it like I don't like Jeremiah Love.
No, Jeremiah Love, admit he is like in the upper echelon of college football players, period. Like, position doesn't matter. He's right up there. Did you see what he did?
Yeah, it was a good run. It was a good run. It was a good run.
It's a good run. It's a really good run.
It was like some Ashton Genty vibes, just like bouncing off.
Yeah, and that's like again.
Yeah, that was probably that's probably the better comp, Scatterboo. Yeah. Just like shucking guys off your back.
Chucked them. I mean, that's like a safety didn't have Bill Carter.
And again, you're right. That's not even his game. His game is more of like they use a 10-6 guy in the 100-meter. And all these track times in my head kind of get it. But he was sub-11 for sure. He's a burner.
Splasher and he's look like Corum fast.
All right, Drew. Like you got to look like Corum. Yeah.
See, but that's like what Marcus Freeman, and James Franklin's energy feels sometimes a little bit like nervous energy. like not really hyper confident.
Who?
You know?
Sorry, who? Marcus Freeman?
No. Marcus Freeman's like totally the opposite. Like James Franklin, when he gets hyped, it's usually him flipping out. I don't like Marcus.
Oh, yeah,
Freeman.
there's a demeanor to Marcus Freeman that you like. I agree with that. Do you remember when he led his team on the football field in College Station week 1?
The best.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, Marcus Freeman has found his stride, in my opinion. Like he's found his stride. He's arrived. I mean, is he a top 5? Like, start ranking coaches here. I'll start mapping mine out. That'll be my commercial break project. Mapping out my coaches.
All right, I'll do it too.
We got a commercial break.
I'm doing who I'd most want to start my team with.
Yeah. If you were to make a hire, we'd love to hear from you guys in the chat too. Just top five coaches. You're an athletic. Oh, we're not going to get a commercial break, so we'll go to it after. If you're an athletic director, who are you hiring? You can hire anybody you want. I actually might switch my. There we go, Drew. No.
No, I was going to say that is no good. That was going to be a fun match of him and Schuler. This is going to be a battle. Schuler's that guy.
What does it look like? An ankle?
I thought it was like a concussion or something. He hit his head pretty hard.
Do you think Ryan Day will be fired if Ohio State loses to Texas? That's another.
I don't think so.
Good, very good call. You might have some.
No, I'm not a Signetti guy.
It's crazy. All right, I'm gonna save it for the commercial break.
I just don't like him.
Yeah, he is not a very likable guy. That is true. He's probably not a guy that I'd want
that arrogant energy where you.
But you kind of have to have it.
I guess.
You gotta get you guys believing in themselves. Hey, know who they haven't taken a shot to all day is Amari Evans.
Yeah, they tried
against Boise State.
They tried the one that they.
There you go, Drew.
Mistimed, but.
Let's see if I can. There's the 2RB set. What are we doing out of it?
Getting these tight ends going a little bit here. It's not even T-War.
It's a good response by Coach Kurt Signetti here. Or not, jeez. Coach Kolnicki.
You're a Signetti sycophant.
No, I'm not. We're going to get to it. Tyler Warren's back. That's big.
This is big.
Touchdowns in the red zone. Hey, Drew's settling in. Not that he's had to make like some super impressive throws. One was a shovel pass, but take it.
No. The throw to Warren's a good throw for sure, but other than that, they've been pretty easy. There's a big inside the 10 spot.
Did they call that a hold?
No.
Katron Allen kind of.
They've been keeping it tight with the flags. I feel like
they're letting him play. But that could have been a hold, but that's more on Katron Allen, kind of screwing Julian Fleming there out on the edge. All right. Got to dial it up here.
I like the way the refs have called the game. I don't think it's like.
Yeah, I agree.
Like there have been some like questionable holds for sure with the offensive lines on both sides,
but they're letting them play on both sides. Like they're not calling a line. I like that. That's a sneaky big storyline for tomorrow. Ohio State, Texas. Ohio State's defensive backs are grabbing.
They are holders for sure.
Like if you get a group of refs that call it, they'll call it a lot.
So very good run, very very good run by Singleton.
Good finish.
Good
back.
power.
Come on. All right. You got your top 5?
Yeah. Well, I have my top 4. I'm trying to think.
I have 4 too. I'm trying to think of
I feel like there's 4 obvious ones, and then it's like, I need to see more.
All right. Who's number 1 for you? Number 1 coach. You're the athletic director. You're making a hire.
I got Kirby, Sark, Lanning, Freeman.
No Ryan Day?
No. God, no.
What?
Are you kidding me? Ryan Day? Ryan Day? Oh, my God.
Ryan Day is 3 for me.
Ryan Day is...
I'm going a little younger, though, so I went Dan Lanning 1. And that's just because, like, I think he's going in the right direction. And, that team's going to compete for national championships every single year.
I don't disagree. I
got Kirby 2. I got Coach Sark 3. Ryan Day 4. Marcus Freeman 5. And I have Kalen DeBoer 6.
I don't have Kalen DeBoer. I'm not ready to...
Yeah, I think...
Not even that I'm as much, but Kalen DeBoer I don't think is shown enough, per se.
This was a concerning year. Kalen DeBoer would have been comfortably in the top 5 for me.
Because people talking like that's like an average roster. That was a really very good save and loaded roster.
Yeah, this is a really good point too. Like MH with what kind of school are you? Like, are you a perennial blue blood, high octane? Like you can maximize this thing. Like Ryan Day's got Ohio State humming. Kirby Smart, Dan Lanning, I throw in there. But if you're at a smaller school where you probably can't recruit top 10 classes every single year, top 5 classes every single year, Curt Cignetti didn't make the list because he's a little old too, and I'd want my head coach around for 10 years. I think he's like older than he looks, right? I think he's 60.
He's like in his 60s, I believe.
Yeah, know who else would be a really, and I know you're probably going to argue with it, but Coach Braum at Louisville, I mean, like he won at Purdue, man, and Purdue's hard.
I've seen him recruit 0 good high school players. That matters. It has to matter.
How about this, though? Ryan Day, Braum, Napier, Kiffin. Braum won. Billy Napier, okay, I can't put him in my top 5 right now, but I do think Billy Napier turns the corner a big way. I do like Lane Kiffin too, but probably not in the. Ooh.
I mean, how are you gonna? I don't see how you take them over like Kirby.
Yeah.
You don't, like that's still a really good.
All right. What about Ryan Day getting fired if he loses to Texas?
No, I don't see it. I think he's done.
Okay.
enough.
What if Ryan Day lost to Tennessee in the first round of the playoffs?
Oh, he's gone for sure.
Me too. Agreed. What if they get smoked by Texas in a no-show?
That to me, that's where you get in, and I don't know the Ohio State politics, but if the boosters turn on him and the donors are like, well, because that is where I disagree with people who are like, oh, he's got a Michigan problem. It's like that's a huge problem at Ohio State.
It's not a good problem.
It's not just a small thing. That's everything. Yeah. That's a big problem, and he certainly has it.
Yeah, but I mean the teams he's put out are so good.
But that's where you get there's a
also who are you hiring? Who do you go out and get?
But you can pretty much take a shot at almost anyone.
Yeah, there'd be a line out the door.
No, I don't know that like Lanning would necessarily leave or Marcus Freeman. I know he's an alum would leave.
I think Marcus Freeman might.
I think Notre Dame gives him what he needs to. Like he recruits.
He getting a lot in Ohio State. That's
horrible. That's a sick play by
oh my God,
Danny Dennis
Sutton.
He's a monster, but
long. Holy smokes!
He had to drop back into that.
Did you see how long he got? My God,
that's a sick play for sure.
So he drops out.
I mean, that ball was going to be picked by the safety. I don't know what the hell Riley did.
Yeah, that's probably one of that is a heck of a play. That is not even. Yeah, definitely try that. That is an incredible play. That's a 265-pound body right there. The Sally just sprinting to the sideline. I love it. All right, shot play. We've been calling for it all day. They haven't done it once. They're getting the single eye safety look. Yeah. Hey, running the ball's working. Actually, this might be the drive where you just had him on the football field for a while. You immediately get it back. Let's go road grade. Let's go road grade a little bit. What a play. Play the game.
Yep.
Yeah, that was incredible. Just good athletes being good athletes.
Playing so poorly right now.
That's what you want too, like man coverage, shallow crosser. Mari Evans should be. Wait, is that is that Wallace or Mari Evans? I get him.
I think it was Wallace because it was 6, right?
Yeah. Okay.
I know Wallace is 6 and Mari's 4.
My fault. I get him. I've been getting him confused all year.
They're going to Fleming more than I feel like he didn't play at all in the last game.
Yeah, I haven't seen much from Mari Evans.
That's a good clean winning play by Drew though. I'll give him that.
Dude, he's big. I feel like not enough people talk about how big that dude is. He's a unit.
He's not.
He's a unit.
He's not a terrible athlete.
He's also a pretty dang good call by Coach K.
Yeah, it was.
Knew you're getting pressure.
Good job by the offensive line.
You know, it's like if they're going to play as much man coverage as they're going to and have their backs turned, like some of that QB run, QB draw stuff could be there. Hey, just delivered a boom by Schuler. You're right. James Franklin, when he celebrates, nervous energy. I'm kind of with you on that.
Oh, my God. He just gave it back. There's a flag. But, my God, Drew. What is he doing? He's just throwing the ball to nowhere. Not to nowhere, just like he's just throwing the ball up. But we had to check the flag. Defensive pass interference. We got another bailout. Oh, I guess it was. He didn't really need to, but he. What do you think about that call?
I don't love those calls because it just bails out really bad quarterback play. That thing just hung up there. If they're going to call defensive pass interference as much as they do, one, they got to start calling it on some wide receivers at times. And number two, like I get the rules of it, and you probably have to make the call. It does frustrate me to see like, oh, are they throwing stuff on the field?
Yeah. The Ultras.
It does. The Michelobes is coming out of the field. What was I saying? I think that you got to stop rewarding these quarterbacks for just throwing bad balls. And like that's one that's perfect example.
But like in fairness, that it was.
Yeah.
I mean,
fair.
Turning around, not playing the ball, running right through the guy.
Yeah, I mean, like they're just a horrible ball by Drew, though.
I know.
I don't know. I guess you got to call it. I know that, and you see so many young defensive backs in college just not know how to get their head around. But it does frustrate me when it's like that's such a bad football, severely underthrown, and we're getting bailed out there. Especially that
sounds like a strategy
ball that Drew because he got another pick that got called back too.
Yeah,
earlier that he just hung up there. He's not been good today.
No.
Yeah, agreed. You see so many DBs do that too. It's they just don't they just tackle. They just tackle. You don't get that around and play the football. 2 RB set, love it. Wow.
Man, they've run the ball well. They've done a really good job on these.
It's the story of the game. You know, who's going to run the football and create more negative plays, and it's been Penn State. Although Notre Dame's run the football better. You're both offenses low-key moving the rock.
Notre Dame just hasn't created the negative plays that Penn State has. Penn State's done a really good job of creating them. It feels like, I don't know.
100%. I mean, Penn State is outrushed Notre Dame by 100 yards, is winning the turnover battle 2-0, creating significantly more negative plays than Notre Dame's defense. That's the recipe here. All right, now it's time for dude. This game is taking some big time swings. You're talking about Penn State looking far and away the best team in the first half. Notre Dame comes out and looks like they're going to win the football game. Then
immediate pick, gross.
Touchdown, immediate pick. Touchdown again. Do you think both Nick Singleton and Kaytron Allen go to the draft?
No, I don't think both do. I thought I heard rumblings that they were both like staying.
I think for the chaos of college football, if one of them hits the portal, that'd be kind of fun.
I mean, good running backs are much more valuable in college than they are in the pro.
Dude, there was an inkling of me that's like kind of hope Genty hits the portal instead of goes to the draft and just like see
it's an absolute bag from like Texas or something.
It'd probably be who would go out and get Oregon. Probably would have thought about getting him for sure.
Yeah, because they needed a back. South Carolina probably would have been aggressive.
I mean, he's just, even if you have a back, he's just different.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I got to take one more bathroom break to take me down the final stretch.
It's weak effort. Let me
no.
something.
I won't leave you hanging. I'll leave you with something to talk about.
No, let me do my top 5 coaches. I don't think there's a 5th guy unless you want to throw Ryan Day in there, but I'm not comfortable doing that.
I think that's crazy.
Dude, they lost 2 games with that roster this year. Do you get like how terrible that is?
Yeah, it's not good. I agree, but I mean,
that's been the story.
He builds that roster. He builds that roster every year. Like in Ryan Day, you have a coach that every single year, know for a fact you're competing for national championship. There's only a couple of coaches in the country that can say that.
But that's like the bare minimum doing at Ohio State. Like, if Sark didn't build good rosters at Texas, I'd be like, oh, what the hell's wrong with Steve Sarkisian?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Same with Kirby at Georgia and Kalen at Bama and frankly, Sharon Moore doesn't do it at Michigan. I'll be doing the same thing. Like when you're at the big power elites, like your bare minimum should be have good teams. Like the fact that he can't get his guys to play good in big moments is a huge problem. Huge problem.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, what if they go win a national championship? You changing your tune a little bit?
Yeah, probably.
You have to. You have to, though.
But that would be him kind of going out of character. Although, in fairness, I think someone said like that year that they lost to Clemson was like bogus. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It was like some of the worst. That was like one of the worst officiated games.
And like it just like so uneven. It just seemed like every call was going against him.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're giving the kid a chance to return it.
I mean that fumble, not fumble, was I think it was that was Jeff Okudah's play. That's like crazy.
Good hands play of the day. Dennis denied Dennis Sutton.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Deny? I think it's deny.
I feel like that's how everyone says it, but I don't. I would always thought it was Danny.
Man, that call is huge. That pick that they called back.
You think they can make it happen here?
They're going back to the too high look. Dude, I mean, do we have the live negative plays created? Because that's got to be.
Look at them, but Ohio State's rough.
I mean, they're just dominating.
Zane Durant.
I'm seeing 3 sacks, 3 TFLs, but I think that's wrong.
What do you think there are more? I'm trying to think. I can't.
Yeah, there's got to be more. I mean, there was 2 sacks in that one drive in the second quarter.
That's a good point.
And the 2-minute drive. So this is a bad game to have one of your offensive linemen go down.
2. Spindler's down too. I think. Well, is Jagasaw still in? Yeah, he is. It's a really good play by Riley.
That's what I'm like. That it's not pretty, but you're moving the chains when you need it.
That's a wintertime play.
Yeah.
For sure. Is Charles Jagasaw going to play left tackle next year?
I would think.
Or at least one of the tackles.
I don't know, dude. This team is going to be good next year if they hit with their quarterbacks. Yeah,
if one of those young guys plays good, for sure, they're going to be really good.
So the whole offensive line's coming back, I'm pretty sure, or dang near. Well, because they're going to. I'll have to look at the depth chart.
We're going to get a really good young core of it back, like Schroff, Anthony.
I got to look at the defense, though, because I do think some guys will be leaving. I think Cross and Mills. And those guys, Jack Kaiser, too.
Yeah, but then you're still going to have like guys like Kingston and in Leonard Moore, and they're going to, but also the fact that they've like recruited well, they've retained well, like you can replace guys when you do that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what people sleep on. Like, oh, you're gonna lose all these guys. You got to replace them. It's like, well, if you do college football the right way, like you should have natural replacement.
Yeah, it's just harder to hold on to that depth these days. But Notre Dame does a good job of it.
But the big schools mostly do, and not necessarily like the depth, but like your good young players who kind of know they're in the pipeline to play.
What was the over-under in this game? It's like low 40s.
Honestly, I never bet totals like that. So I
Yeah, I think it was low 40s.
Darn it. If this goes to overtime, the people are going to be livid because the overtime rules stink. It's incredible.
I don't have problems with the overtime rules. Hot take, Jared.
So good.
Yeah, I might have to start.
I do. I don't think I want to see an overtime be decided by 2-point conversion fest. Feels a little gimmicky.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair.
Like the Georgia Tech game, like it's pretend.
Yeah, maybe in the regular season you're okay with it, but maybe in the offs.
Oh my god!
Oh, he fell down.
He's down.
Oh my, that was the explosive dude. This game is awesome. This is like it's just back and forth. Was that AJ Harris or Kimber who fell down?
You got to see it again. I was distracted by the excitement of the moment.
These plays were going to be important because they ain't going to come that many of them. Looks like it was
Cam Miller.
Cam Miller.
Yeah.
They went man coverage with a single high safety. And
it's like, what are you going to do?
Yeah. All right. You got your 4-minute offense, Coach K. Go cash my ticket.
You need it.
Wow. What a play. All right.
Dude, Greathouse kind of had a game today, honestly.
I loved him as a freshman.
Yeah,
he's been kind of quiet. He just haven't really thrown the ball that much.
Damn, they're basically cashing me out at even for Penn State minus 115 money line. Surprising.
Penn State's going to go win this football game here.
Yeah. Something like that.
Well, this gets into the conversation we were having earlier. Like, what coach you want in these moments? I think it's probably Marcus Freeman.
Not James.
Probably not James. I'm gonna ask the Penn State boys, is James Franklin gone if they lose?
That'd be crazy if that happened.
It's been offenses are alive. You've seen some turnovers. Both teams are running the football better, and then Notre Dame just scored a 70-yard, 60-yard touchdown. Penn State went man coverage with a single high safety, and Penn State defensive back just fell down wide open, touchdown. It's been, I mean, this second half. A lot of people lost some money here. With I think the under is a very popular play in Vegas. And look, I don't think you're on the wrong side. This is the second half. We went into halftime with 13 points on the board.
Although, in fairness, both these offenses are executing.
Have moved the football more. I think we're both going to hit. I think both of these offenses got a chance at hitting 400 yards, which is not something I had on my bingo card.
Yeah, like I don't even think Drew's played that good.
No, they ran the football. They ran the football much better than I thought. Notre Dame's run the football for 280 carry. Penn State 5 yards.
Did you say 280?
2.8.
How many yards total?
94.
That's what Penn State's run the ball for?
No, Notre Dame 94 yards, 280 carry, 2.8.
Yeah, I know.
Penn State, $189, 4.5 yards, 4.8 yards per carry.
Penn State's
man, if Penn State loses this game, outrushing Notre Dame by 100 yards and winning the turnover battle 2-0, Drew's 10 of 19 for 129.
I wouldn't be able to sleep losing that ticket as a Penn State holder. Because I feel like you think you'd have that right.
Yeah, 100%.
I'd be like, I picked it right. I just didn't work out for me, whatever. Who is this dude?
No clue. Should I know him?
I think he's like the Capital One like spokesman, but like, is he just like Jake from State Farm? They basically just do that. Make up a character that now is like getting airtime on the.
Jake from State Farm is like one of the most popular people in America. He's like sitting courtside. Sick. Imagine that. Nobody knows his name either. He's just Jake.
No, he's not.
That's probably the way to be famous, you know?
Yeah, like not be really a real person.
Oh, I have a question for you. Do you think teams start squib kicking a little bit more, or like trying to time that up?
Why?
Because I've seen a lot of those kicks where it's like they kind of get it to like bounce at the 5, and then the college kids like panic. I would try to implement that.
Yeah.
Little like shower thoughts for me. But I see a lot of teams like not deal with that very well. Just a thought. All right, Drew.
Jumpy. We're getting jumpy in Penn State.
So that was a late flag.
James Franklin and his nervous energy, nervous bird, is killing me. Oh, it's the running back.
One of the first pre-snap penalties Penn State's had. They've been pretty.
Yeah, Notre Dame's had a handful of them, but.
All right, who can win now? They ran that play you were talking about. Marcus Freeman ran. They picked the linebacker off of Tyler Warren in man coverage and got Singleton out there.
It's a good job by Kaiser to chase it down, honestly.
Yeah, 100%. Nick Singleton's not an easy guy to run and chase.
Because I never think of Kaiser as like a premier athlete at the linebacker spot. But he's played really good this year.
Yeah, he's been awesome. This whole Notre Dame defense has been awesome, for being honest.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, you get back heavy and run?
Probably. Junior T. It's a big third down because this puts Notre Dame right in the driver's seat.
Got to be Tyler Warren time, right?
It has to be, I would think.
I don't know if you trust any other pass catcher to go make a play.
No. How could you? They never get open. But they do have them doubled. That's a really good play by Drake and
Yeah, by Drake. No, 100% it was.
And Kaiser to like be able to run it down, but like Drake to not bite off and go after him.
Punting?
Yeah.
Wow.
They do have Luke Reynolds in, though. I don't know if that means anything.
Do you fake it? They're kind of sneaking Luke Reynolds into that.
They have pretty much a punt. I feel like they're playing the fake. Riley Leonard.
All right. This is what you dream about.
It's legacy
left. Tie ball game, college football playoff, national championship on the line.
It's crazy.
I'm starting to open that group chat with the Penn State and Notre Dame fans. Funny. All right. Oh, pace.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't run it. Well, I mean, time's not really a factor. I guess Notre Dame kind of wants this to be it.
Yeah, let's see one get through your last drives. Maybe give him a little hard count though.
They did give him a hard count. I mean, you saw the guy jump a little bit.
I wasn't really paying that much attention. It's my fault.
It's amateur hour.
All right, who's making the play here?
I mean, at this rate, it's been Greathouse and Evans. Those have been the two guys I feel like they've been. Although the ball's been getting spread around because
they don't really have that guy. I don't have that Tyler Warren guy.
No.
Hey, there's that Capital One guy again.
I know I've seen about enough of him.
But he's getting a lot of screen time.
I didn't care for the little juggling thing.
Just a hater. You're a born hater. You hate everything.
Yep. That's probably fair.
The one thing you gotta be a little nervous about if you're Notre Dame at these. The thing is, like, Notre Dame doesn't need to just drop back and throw. They got 3 timeouts. They got 2 minutes left. But you got to watch out for Abdul Carter and Dennis Sutton here.
Yeah, I'd be very scared of that because you're dropping back, you're throwing. In these tackles, I haven't blocked.
I'm probably trying to quick game and maybe sprinkle in some runs. I mean, that's what I'm nervous about if I'm Denbrock and Freeman.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely fair. But I think you want this game. I also think you really want to end it right now.
Well, yeah, 100%.
And Marcus Freeman doesn't coach scared like that, which is nice.
No.
I would think. I don't like scared money coaching. That bothers me to no end.
Say that again?
Like scared coaching, like not going for 4th and 1s that you should, or like not basically putting the ball in your court, like
Who
saying.
do you think's been scared? I think both these coaches have been like.
No, I'm not saying either of them have been right now.
Yeah.
But like when coaches play essentially like, well, I don't want to see my team make a mistake, so I'm not going to do anything that.
That's not national championship football, that's for sure.
No, that's like. That's scared.
Well, Marcus Freeman, that's not how he operates. He's an aggressive.
No, Marcus Freeman's really like pretty balls to the wall.
All right.
Although I will say both these offenses are encouraging me in terms of their ability to beat Ohio State, possibly.
That's a big play here, too.
Yeah, well, it's going to be huge.
I also thought they could have gotten a hold there.
Yeah, but they pretty much said they're not going to call holds.
They ain't calling holds. Yeah. All right. Okay, side note, Drew's energy on the sideline multiple times this year, bad vibes.
He's not a high energy guy. That's
no. It's not about a high or low energy. It's about bad energy. It's like, I mean, you can't be doing like that, especially when you're 10 of 19 for $129.
Like it's been your fault, kind of that.
Yeah, I'm not trying to but I mean, what we just talked about. You're winning the turnover margin 2-0. You ran the ball for almost 200 yards. Drew's missed some throws that have been bad.
Yeah, and he's gotten bailed out to no end.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. There are some quarterbacks who are like laughing on the sidelines when you're getting trounced. Bad look.
Who was the pro who got beat up for it? Derek Anderson? I don't know if you remember that press
Yeah,
conference.
a while ago. Yeah, but you see that in college too often, where
I
it's
don't
like,
think it's funny that we're losing. This isn't a joke to me.
yeah, Penn State third down defense. This has actually been a big story in this football game. Notre Dame's 10 of 14 on third downs. Penn State's 3 of
That's
11.
crazy.
I mean, Penn State's, I think, converted on 2 fourth downs. Notre Dame hasn't tried one, but 3 of 11 versus 4. I mean, that's probably the biggest stat that's going in Notre Dame's favor. I agree with that.
Yeah, because the bulk of it probably mostly favors Penn State.
There's Abdul Carter, man. They're going to get a hold, too. I think they're going. Oh, Jagasaw says they're getting hands to the face on Penn State, I think.
Oh, that's gross. I did.
Wow. Minute 14. Ball at midway. They got that South Carolina kicker, too, huh? Jeter?
Jeter's good.
I thought they were getting a hold on that is
it looked like it could have been.
face.
I didn't know Jeter was a South Carolina guy, though.
Yeah, he came from Scar. See, now you really can run. I think Notre Dame's a runner here.
Run it? Yes, you can.
Yeah, you got 3 timeouts. I mean, to me, like the scariest thing for me is this pass rush.
Yeah, because you go.
If you're dropping back, you got to like this is. There we go. I mean, that's Riley Leonard for you.
Riley Leonard's played really good.
Yeah. He has had 2 picks. I wouldn't say he's played very good, but like he's been doing that dirty work that you need. Yes, massive. Like anyone but Ohio State for me. You'll see me cheering.
I don't want Notre Dame to win a nat either.
Look, Penn State, Notre Dame, Texas, I'm good with. Ohio State, no bueno. That's my take on it.
No, I don't like Notre Dame.
Why? I like Marcus. So they're going cut. Oh, free. Oh! You had it dialed it up. Abdul Carter is a dog. Man, you went cover 0. You held up in coverage. Wow. See, those are the plays that win you games, though. You take a sack there, and you're suddenly probably going into overtime.
Yeah. That was a big avoid. A big avoid of a sack.
You know, he grades out extremely well with that.
What?
Just a side note. Yeah, pressure to sack is like really, really good for Riley Leonard. Like, just doesn't take sacks, which is important, obviously, right there.
Yeah, sack machine quarterbacks are infuriators.
Yeah, I'm with Greg Mack right here. Like talking about, I'm surprised they're just dropping back. Like, just get something quick here. Like avoid this pass rush a little bit.
You're probably right. You probably could have run the ball there.
They're going man. And it's both these teams are playing a bunch of man and saying these wide receivers can't get open on this.
Yep.
Timeout if you're Penn State, right? Go get a drive. Don't do anything stupid.
I don't even know if it's worth it.
What do you mean? You just talk about not coaching scared, and then you're in here like crawling up into a shell, right? Is that not what you just went on a tirade about coaching?
Yeah, I'd probably if I was a Penn State fan.
No, if you, God, you ain't getting. So we just when I was my pretend AD, I ain't hiring you.
I wouldn't hire me.
Although the way Drew's playing is not exactly inspiring a ton of confidence, but you got 3 timeouts. Take one, see what happens on the punt. The problem is with this punt return has been a maniac today, which is not ideal.
Yeah, it's been a little.
The narrative for Michigan fans. Oh, we'll spin the narrative.
That's how I would spin it, but I would still like the idea of being able to lord it over them that they don't have it, and we do.
Yeah, it's for me. It's like yes, that'd be the narrative I'm taking, but I just don't want to see Ohio State raise a trophy. That's kind of what it comes down to me. I don't think I'd like that.
No, I couldn't. I just don't like that team.
I think I'm low-key getting an ear infection.
Well, you gotta stop messing with it. You're gonna like do what you did last time.
Well, I mean, certainly, I got a big head, man. That was the most calm fair catch we've seen all day. All right, Drew, what do you got? 47 seconds left, 2 timeouts. What do you got from me?
What do you think?
Okay, so we answered this question earlier, but I want to be more. I think Penn State has the best chance at beating Ohio State because I think Penn State has played like Drew has played very bad today, and you're like what like Drew has the capability of playing really good. Like the version of Drew that we saw in the Big Ten championship game against Oregon, that's a really dangerous Penn State team if they followed up with the defensive performance like we've seen in the offs. All right, go fast now. Go fast now. Go fast now for me.
No, that didn't just happen, did it?
I'm a little behind you here. What just happened?
I think you just threw a pick.
Oh, no. Oh!
You see, maybe in my temperament of being a little scared because I've watched him play poorly, maybe I'm not so crazy. That's awful. That's just freaking out. Not being able to stay composed.
I'm a dead man. I'm going to be living out of a cardboard box at the end of the playoffs. Living under the bridge out of a cardboard box.
Very much success with those big favorites when they met up with the bad teams in the first round.
Yeah, those were gimmies.
Those were gimmies. Everything else has been a disaster. And Drew Allard may have just absolutely shivved me.
It's a catch. It's a pick. You're looking at a dead man right now. Looking at a dead man.
I said I don't like him when you play aggressive and then Drew Allard. Come on. What are we doing? Just throws it right to the guy. I feel like that's pretty clear, honestly.
Man, he's got. I really do think he's got a bright future, but just the moment seems so big for him at times.
But he's not even young. Oh, goddamn. What do you think? How do you think Notre Dame plays this now?
Conservative after the sacks I just saw.
I would agree. Just like 3 straight runs or something. Because they run on first down. Those.
I would. I think, man. I just don't want to.
I mean, that's a really good start for them.
Yeah, 100%. Call a timeout, and probably just do that. They call the timeout. Okay.
I imagine they're just going to run it 3 straight times, and maybe if they get a first down, spike it or something, I suppose.
Yeah, I was a blast watching Greg McElroy back in the day. I think he's the best in the game at calling games. I mean, I like
Greg McElroy was a
I think
snooze
he's
fest.
great. What'd you say?
As a quarterback, he's a little bit of a snoozer. I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
That's true.
Didn't do a whole lot, but he is. I think he's so good at calling.
I think he's like.
I learned so much from him. I feel like.
Isn't Drew like? I think Drew's a junior. Our red shirt sophomore. I think red shirt is freshman.
Is he an older guy though? I have no idea.
I don't know how old he was. I think he was just regular age coming out of high school.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know if he was like a held back kind of old
big boy.
guy.
That's for sure. It's a really good play by Kobe King there. Another timeout. I mean, this is gonna be a big time kick for Mitch Jeter here. You probably run it again, man. Like
why not?
Yeah. Probably run it if you get the first down and the clock stops. Go up, spike it, and then maybe run it.
You could like do something like a sprint out or something. That's like been effective. But
safe. Something safe. You just avoid the pass rush, man. Avoid this.
I think you want a shot to kick this field goal from here. I think you're okay. You can
career. I thought he was like a kicking ace at South Carolina.
No, I don't. He was like that good in the regular season for Notre Dame.
Well, I thought he was good at South Carolina coming over though.
He's been good in the playoffs though.
All right, what do we got here? Sprint out. Good call, Dale. Oh. Get up and spike, I think, or
I think so, right?
Yeah, okay. Save your timeout. Yeah, that makes sense.
And now you run another play.
Yeah, now you're just asking Mitch Jeter where you want the football. Now you're just asking where Mitch Jeter wants.
You probably want a couple more yards, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe, but you're saying like where do you want it? And maybe we can get 2 or 3 more yards, but
I'm surprised Penn State gave him it that easy on the sprint out. That's a nice play by Greathouse too, and a nice throw. I guess you're right. That was purely where does he want it? God, I'd be so pressed about this. If I was a kicker.
Oh yeah, I would not be built for this moment. I would shrivel up there. Yeah, no shot. I'm not a big moment guy.
No.
I'd be shaking.
I'd be shook.
I need to use the bathroom, so it's like I almost just for the
I do too, but I feel like you gotta hang on at this point.
Well, yeah, for sure.
All
right. Yeah, Abdul Carter coming off the edge, trying to block this thing. I thrive in these moments. That makes one of us because I would not be. The kid would not be built for this moment at all.
God no.
Yeah, you got to take your Wink Martindale notes. I do agree with that. All right, here we go.
I know I know that was like a joke on Twitter, but I would love it if Wink Martindale was
Did Penn State call that timeout? Oh, because they want a time if he makes it. Is Penn State going to call another timeout? It was 4th down now.
I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can double up.
Well, no, they're calling their fine. Penn State called the timeout, made Notre Dame run another play, and then says if they make this, they want a chance at like kick return or something.
I get that, but I didn't think Penn State could do 2 timeouts straight. I'm confused.
South Carolina did have some kicking problems. Herrera or whatever.
This year?
Fire me up for South Carolina in 2025, man.
Oh, no, he is a thrilling quarterback.
Thrilling. I like that word. Good ball. All right.
Good.
Surprised they're not trying to block this thing.
No, I'm also surprised.
Nailed it. Attaboy, Mitch.
Nails.
Attaboy, Mitch. That's going to be such a relieving moment for the family. Like, if you were out there kicking a field goal, oh, boy.
Oh, I'd be rooting against you to now on.
That's crazy. Why?
Oh. Sometimes some people just like see the world burn, I guess.
You're sick ticket, bro. That's messed up.
Well, sometimes you get a little bit crazy, though, you know?
That's a conversation that popped up into my brain, 100%. James Franklin in big games. Should have known better. Betting on James Franklin
his leg again, Jay.
Semifinals. Should have known. I mean, look at these two teams. Look at Marcus Freeman. Look at James Franklin. Look at him. He's a beauty. Marcus Freeman, confident. James Franklin,
scared
of the moment, like me.
Oh,
should have known. Should have known in the fourth quarter when it comes down to it. You should have known. Man, you got to give Marcus Freeman a ton of credit. Good for him.
Freeman's the man. That was a really good game. This is probably the best playoff game we've seen so far.
Yeah, it was a great playoff game. Great playoff game.
Because I think both teams played pretty good.
No, Drew played so bad.
No, but like the teams in general, I think Drew was not the best for sure. But like their offense was not horrible for Penn State.
Yeah, I mean 11-21 for $139 and a pick is
No, he played bad, but their rushing game was great.
Yeah, I agreed. Agreed. If you could have gotten that, if you could have gotten that 15-yarder, I think Drew does have the arm to get it down there. But not anymore. Now you got to go hook and ladder. Hook and ladder with the laddies.
You just give it to Tyler Warren and see if he can go rumble down there, which he is.
Yeah.
Even isn't it? Oh,
Someone's got to be on the other side.
He just throws it to nowhere.
He just throws it.
That's disgusting. Stupid.
Going to the national championship. Good for Marcus Freeman. Happy for him. Only Joe Miller can make that throw with these facts. All right, that'll do it from the boys. Appreciate you guys rocking with it again. We'll next year we're gonna start getting some of these watch parties up a little bit more. Again, appreciate you guys rocking with it. Hopefully y'all have a good night. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.